Chapter 264. In front of the stone gate. Brother Patian, what's wrong? Brother Long, we can't go out like this. According to the rules of the Battle of the 9 States, if we leave before the 3-month deadline, we will be attacked by the 9 families. He cursed in his heart, but since there was such a rule in the Battle of the 9 States, Longao couldn't fight against the 9 sects alone. It was probably unrealistic. However, Long Patian said, Brother Long, don't worry. I have a path to leave. Let's go. Longao didn't ask much. He knew that as a friend, there were things he should ask and things he shouldn't ask. In this way, the two left the Scarlet Sky world at the fastest speed, but they never found that there was a figure following behind them. Even if it was only 10 meters away, the two still couldn't find the trace of the evil spirit. Outside the Scarlet Sky world, the two finally breathed a sigh of relief. Long Patian said, Brother Long, we left the Scarlet Sky world in advance. Why don't you come back with me to the Long family? I will take you to that place later. I believe it will be of great help to your cultivation breakthrough. Okay. Longao also planned to go and see. After all, what he needed most now was strength, so he wouldn't choose to give up anything that could improve his strength. The Scarlet Province was dominated by the 9 families and the 4 empires. However, as everyone knew, the 9 families would not intervene in the secular affairs at all, so the secular world was dominated by the 4 empires. In the Scarlet Province, the 9 families would not come out to support any of the 4 empires and let them develop. After so many years, the 4 empires had almost reached a state of saturation. In fact, the 9 families were most willing to see the 4 empires in a state of balance. The Long family was considered weak among the 9 families, but even so, the other families didn't dare to ask the Long family for help. The reason was very simple, that was, the Long family had a Long family behind them. Although the Long family wouldn't intervene in the affairs of the low-level families, there was always a possibility. Moreover, the Long family had a super genius that hadn't been seen in 100 years, Long Patian. Long Patian had reached the peak of the Tao ancestor realm at the age of 25, and was ranked first on the Scarlet Province list. As everyone knew, the Long family had a ranking, the Dragon ranking. As long as one could enter the Dragon ranking, they would be able to soar into the sky and enter the Long family to cultivate. According to Long Potion's talent and potential, it was only a matter of time before he entered the Dragon rankings. It was because of this that the Long family was not the strongest in the Crimson Province, but they were the most popular. Perhaps Longao was too impatient, but he didn't follow Long Patian back to the Long family. Instead, he went straight to the place where he could improve his strength. Big Brother Patian, where's this place? Brother Long, you must remember that this matter must be kept a secret because other than the 9 great sects, no other clan or sect knows about this place in the Crimson Province, including those in the Tianzhou. Longao's curiosity was piqued, but he still nodded. Brother Long, back then when the 9 states had just been divided, the Crimson State was under the control of the 9 great clans. I accidentally found a place called the 99 Celestial Stairs. According to the rumors, as long as one could climb the highest celestial stairs, a rainbow would cross the sky, and the sound of the heavens would ring throughout the Crimson State. Furthermore, the higher the celestial stairs, the more helpful it would be for one's future cultivation. 99 Celestial Stairs. Only an idiot wouldn't be moved after hearing Long Potion's words. Longao became more and more excited, and he couldn't wait to go to the 99 Celestial Stairs. Brother Long, the outside of the 99 Celestial Stairs is also called the 99 Celestial Stairs. Every Celestial Stairs will have a different feeling. You can try to sense and experience it. Can I go in? Since the 99 Celestial Stairs were occupied by the 9 great clans, they definitely wouldn't let outsiders enter easily. Since that was the case, could he enter the 99 Celestial Stairs? Brother Long, don't worry. Although you're from the Long family of the Crimson Fire Town in the Tianzhou, you're still a member of the Long family. You don't have to say anything, just leave everything to me. Nodding, Longao asked, Big Brother Patian, how many celestial stairs have you climbed? When the 99 Celestial Stairs was mentioned, Long Potion's face was filled with pride. He said, in the past 1,000 years, the highest was the 60th Celestial Stairs, but I've only climbed the 29th celestial stairs. I'm the first in the past 100 years. The 29th celestial stairs? If it was just about how difficult it was to climb the celestial stairs, one wouldn't have the slightest idea. But now, Longao finally understood what the 99 celestial stairs represented. Even Long Patian had only climbed the 20th celestial stairs, and he was the first in the past 100 years. This in itself already explained everything. But Longao was still looking forward to climbing the 99 celestial stairs. The sky beyond. Located in the middle of the Chilean mountains, it was guarded by the experts of the 9 great clans. Not to mention entering the sky beyond. Ordinary people wouldn't even have heard of it. If the matter of the sky beyond was leaked out and the forces of the other 8 states knew about it, there would definitely be an endless stream of people pouring in. At that time, the sky beyond wouldn't be exclusive to the Crimson Prefecture, but to all 9 states. Because of this, very few people knew about the sky beyond. Even the disciples of the 9 great clans didn't know about it. This was also the agreement of the 9 great clans. The intention of the 9 great clans was very simple. They wanted to have their own sky beyond. Longao understood this very well. After all, the good things had to be left for themselves. Brother Long, you have to give me this opportunity because each of us only has one chance to enter the sky beyond heaven every year. Back then, when I reached the 29th step of the celestial stairway, the 9 great clans rewarded me with 2 chances every year. I didn't go this year, so now, I'll give you 1 chance. Thank you. Longao didn't say much. He just had to remember this kindness in his heart. Brother Long, with your talent and potential, if nothing unexpected happens, you should be able to climb the 30th celestial stairs. You will replace me and become the first in 100 years. Longao shrugged helplessly. Although he was very confident in his talent, he didn't dare to say much about the 99 celestial stairs. After all, even Long Patian had only climbed the 29th celestial stairs. Just think about it, and he knew how difficult it was. In the middle of the Chilean mountains, there was a huge mountain range that spanned the entire Chilean mountains. The sky beyond was in the middle. From the outside, one could only see pieces of white clouds. It was impossible to see the situation inside. Brother Long, this is the sky beyond of the Chilean mountains. The 99 celestial stairs are inside. Don't talk nonsense later. No matter what happens, you just have to remember one thing. Endure because this opportunity is very important to you. You must not give up. Nodding, Longao said, I understand. P.S. 17 chapters have been delivered. I accidentally fell asleep last night. The remaining 3 chapters will be delivered in the afternoon. As for today, there will be 4 chapters. From tomorrow onwards, there will be 10 chapters per day for a month. Please support Little 9. Tip, bookmark, and give monthly votes. Chapter 265. Chilean Mountain, Sky Beyond Sky. 9 seniors, I'm going to climb the 99 steps again this time. I'll give my other chance to Brother Long. The 9 guardians of the sky beyond heaven came from the 9 great clans. The 9 of them guarded this place all year round, never leaving even for a moment. It was because of this that Long Patian admired the 9 of them. Originally, Long Patian and Longao thought that the 9 people would stop them, and this matter would be very difficult to handle. However, what Long Patian and Longao did not expect was that the 9 people did not stop them at all and directly let them in. After giving Longao a look, Long Patian and Longao quickened their pace. In a short while, the 2 of them disappeared without a trace. Inside the huge mountain range of Chilean Mountain, looking at the rolling mountain range, Longao was surprised. He didn't expect there to be such a marvelous scene in the world. He had to admit that sky beyond sky was hidden well. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to find this place. Moreover, the 9 great clans deliberately hid this place. For so many years, the news of sky beyond sky didn't spread. Brother Long, ignore the others. What's wrong? The people who came here are the genius disciples of the various clans. Although the 9 great clans chose to cooperate temporarily for sky beyond sky, the 9 great clans have always been incompatible. So that's why. Nodding, Longao was stunned. He stared at both sides with shock written all over his face. Brother Long, this is the legendary 99 steps of the heavenly stairs. Looking over, in front of Longao and Long Patian, a huge heaven stairway appeared. The heaven stairway had a total of 99 steps. Each step was 100 meters long and 10 meters wide. The entire heaven stairway could not be seen at all, because halfway up, the heaven stairway was already covered by white mist. The white mist lingered. It was shocking. Was this the legendary 99-step stairway? At this moment, there were only a few people around. Because all the people on the wind cloud ranking had participated in the 9 states wind cloud ranking, the entire sky beyond sky was silent. Brother Long, the 99 heavenly steps are also known as the 99 heavenly steps. Every time you climb a heavenly step, you will have a different feeling. In the past 1,000 years, no one has been able to reach the top, not even the 80th heavenly step. I hope you can create a legend. Longao didn't say anything. He stood quietly at the bottom of the stairway and looked up at the endless stairway. He was extremely shocked. The entire stairway to heaven seemed to connect the heavens and the earth together. It looked majestic. Longao had only seen this kind of heaven and earth wonder once, and that was the mountain of corpses. It was also because of this that he created his own martial skill, heaven and earth sorrow. If he could create his own martial skill here, it would be too wonderful. Brother Long, suddenly waking up, Longao said embarrassedly, I'm sorry, this 99-step stairway is really too shocking. Long Patian didn't care at all. He laughed and said, it's okay. When I saw the 99 steps for the first time, I was also deeply shocked. Brother Long, do you want to start now? Or do you want to prepare first? Let's start now. With such a rare opportunity, Longao naturally would not wait. He immediately took a step forward, and in a short while, he had already arrived at the foot of the heaven stairway. Longao raised his head and glanced at the 99 heavenly steps. He clenched his fists tightly and kept telling himself in his heart that no matter what happened, he had to climb the 99 heavenly steps. Finally, he took the first step. Longao had just stepped onto the first step of the celestial stairway when his entire body fell into a powerful pressure that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. If he had not been prepared beforehand, just this alone would have been enough to force Longao back. Taking a deep breath, Longao didn't dare to be careless. He channeled all the energy in his body into his feet. Finally, his other foot stepped onto the first step, not far away. Seeing Longao step onto the first step, Long Patian clenched his fists and said, Brother Long, I hope you won't disappoint me. As long as you can surpass the 30th step, both you and I will have a chance to break through the nothingness realm and go further. In Long Potion's eyes, being able to climb the 30th step was already amazing. At the very least, one's talent and potential was enough to break through the nothingness realm. Both of his feet had already landed on the first step. Although the pressure was terrifying, Longao still managed to persevere with ease. What kind of joke was this? If he couldn't even succeed on the first step, then he would have to reevaluate his own talent and potential. After successfully stepping onto the first step, Longao didn't hesitate and immediately headed for the second step. It was still under the same pressure, but the power was a third stronger. Although it was only a third, Longao knew clearly that the second step was much more terrifying than the first. If he wasn't careful, he would fall. He had just stepped onto the second step of the 99 steps. According to Long Patian, the first 20 steps of the 99 steps were all under the pressure of gravity. With the strength of the earthly sovereign and Tao ancestor, stepping onto the first 20 steps was almost no problem. From the 21st step onwards, the pressure of gravity turned into pressure of aura. It was a qualitative change. As for the pressure of aura, Longao had already felt it when he stepped onto the 21st step. Because of this, Longao was 100% sure that this aura wasn't the so-called aura of heaven and earth, but a very powerful aura. He couldn't say what kind of power it was. If it was an ordinary warrior, they wouldn't be able to resist this aura. But Longao didn't feel the slightest pressure. Until now, Longao's face was still relaxed. It was just that he didn't understand the situation of the stairway at the beginning, so he looked particularly serious. Already on the 21st step, Longao had full confidence that with his talent, potential, and strength, he could reach Long Potion's height, which was the so-called 29th step. Unknowingly, an hour had passed. Longao had already successfully stepped onto the 29th heaven stairway. Only at this moment did Longao's expression start to become serious. He stood on the heaven stairway and did not immediately continue to step on it. Instead, he stood there quietly, recuperating while recovering his strength. With the 29th step, Longao's current achievement was tied with Long Patian. In other words, as long as Longao continued to climb one more step, he would surpass Long Patian. If Long Patian knew about this, he would be more surprised than amazed. The 29th step. Longao took a deep breath and didn't continue to hesitate. He finally stepped forward and continued to walk towards the 30th step. Just as he stepped onto the 30th step, Longao's face suddenly changed because he found that there was an aura attacking his soul on the 30th step. Chapter 266. Soul Attack? Longao was shocked. He couldn't understand why there would be a soul attack on the 30th step. At this moment, Longao finally understood why the 99 steps could increase a warrior's strength rapidly. First, there was the gravity suppression. Now there was a soul attack. What about the future? Longao didn't retreat at all. Instead, he was looking forward to it. Longao was very clear in his heart that this situation was the best time for him to cultivate his soul attack. It was precisely because of this that Longao did not waste any time and energy. He directly chose to use a soul attack, giving him a taste of his own medicine. Longao's soul attack was very powerful. He attacked from all directions. Anyway, he couldn't see who was attacking him. Just like this, Longao slowly walked up the 31st step while using his soul attack. At the bottom of the stairs, looking at the 99 steps in front of him, Long Potion's face was filled with determination. In 10 years, he had collapsed a total of 12 times. However, he had never succeeded in reaching the 30th step. This was Long Potion's regret. This time, I will succeed. Long Patian resolutely stepped onto the 30th step. Perhaps because he was familiar with the path, Long Potion's speed was much faster than Longao's. Long Patian seemed to be very confident. Although Longao had ascended first, and he had followed behind, with his speed, he would at most meet Longao at the 15th step. However, even when Long Patian easily reached the 29th step, he still had not met Longao. This time, Long Patian was stunned. He didn't know what was going on. Could it be that Brother Long has successfully reached the 30th step? Although he didn't believe it, Long Patian had to admit that Longao's talent and potential far exceeded his. Even he could reach the 9th step, let alone Brother Long. He didn't care about Longao. At this moment, Long Patian was finally about to reach the 30th step. The 30th step. Long Potion's heart had been aching for so many years, because no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't reach the 30th step. This time, he had to succeed. 4 hours later, Longao relied on his powerful soul attack and perseverance to finally reach the 60th step of the celestial stairway. If the 9 super clans were to know about this, they would probably be so shocked that they would be speechless. Longao seemed to have reached his limit. His soul had been attacked countless times. But what surprised Longao was that not only was his soul not damaged, but it was also becoming stronger. Persevere. I must persevere. No matter what happens, I must persevere. Longao's character was like this. The more difficult it was, the more he would persevere. He never gave up easily because he always believed that perseverance would always be rewarded. But if you didn't persevere, you wouldn't even have the slightest bit of hope. Opportunities were always given to those who were prepared and could persevere. Breaking out of the cocoon and being reborn. Longao was struck down by the surrounding souls, and his entire body trembled. His eyes were unfocused, and his face was pale. His soul was riddled with holes. Even if he did not die, he would most likely be crippled. But in Longao's mind, he kept telling himself, persevere, persevere, you must persevere. You still have family and loved ones. If you can't persevere, what will happen to them? You still have to reach the peak of martial arts and become a peerless expert. If you die like this, how will you do it? A miracle happened. Just as Longao's soul was about to disappear, a terrifying soul power burst out. It was the so-called breaking out of the cocoon. In the end, Longao's perseverance paid off. If Longao didn't persevere, not to mention breaking out of the cocoon, his soul would have disappeared and his body would have been devoured by heaven and earth. Longao did not hesitate in the slightest because the soul attacks around him were still continuing. It was not easy for his soul to break out of its cocoon and be reborn. It was twice as strong as before. How could Longao not seize this opportunity? What did it mean to double one's soul? It could be said that Longao was full of confidence. If he were to encounter someone like Yao Ji, even if Yao Ji's soul was stronger than an ordinary warrior's, and she even knew how to use soul attacks, his current soul power would be enough to kill her in seconds. That's right. It would be an instant kill. Longao was full of confidence that he could instantly kill Yao Ji. This was the power of soul attacks. Soul attack martial techniques could increase in power as the soul continued to grow stronger. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't excited. After all, the rebirth from the cocoon had doubled the strength of his soul. If he could persevere and climb a few more steps of the celestial stairway, wouldn't his soul become even stronger? Master, according to your current soul, it's enough to deal with soul attacks of the 60th layer. Quickly come in. I have something to say to you. Longao was very curious. He did not know why Long Fu had called him at this time, but Longao trusted Long Fu. His soul entered the dragon seal space. Within the dragon seal space, Long Fu, you're looking for me? Longao was somewhat impatient. After all, he was currently climbing the 99 steps. If he was slightly negligent, who knew what would happen? Master, your soul has doubled, so I'm officially teaching you soul fusion. Soul fusion? Longao was very curious. He did not know what the soul fusion that Long Fu was talking about was. Soul fusion? Master, soul martial techniques are divided into two types, soul attack and soul fusion. Master, your soul attack has been cultivated to the small success stage. Now, you're only lacking soul fusion. Then, Long Fu taught the soul fusion cultivation method to Longao. After sensing it slightly, Longao already knew what soul fusion meant. It was very simple. To deal with soul attacks, one soul would directly cover the opponent's soul and refine it, continuously strengthening one's own soul. His heart rejoiced. Longao left the dragon seal space and started to resist the soul attacks around him without hesitation. Moreover, he continued to head towards the 61st sky stairway. Breaking out of the cocoon to be reborn, his soul had been strengthened. Longao could deal with the soul attacks around him easily. Just like this, Longao finally reached the deepest part and stepped onto the 61st step without hesitation. Just as he stepped onto it, Longao's entire body was suppressed, which gave him a big fright. Before Longao could react, he was already suppressed to the point that he could not move at all. What a terrifying aura suppression. In just an instant, Longao already knew what this aura suppression was. It was the aura of heaven and earth. If it was the Longao of the past, he would not know what the aura of heaven and earth was. However, the situation now was different. Longao already knew that the 99 steps of the heavenly stairs, from the first step to the 29th step, it was the suppression of gravity. From the 30th to the 60th step, it was the aura of heaven and earth. However, the heaven and earth aura that Longao released was not on the same level as the heaven and earth aura that was suppressed by the 90th step sky stairway. Crack. Longao almost knelt down, but he managed to endure it in the end. Not choosing to give up, Longao continued to persevere. The chi of heaven and earth around his body protected his body tightly. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest. Longao knew clearly in his heart that the moment he let down his guard, he would be crushed to death by the chi of heaven and earth. Persist. He still persisted. No matter what happened, he had to persevere. Gritting his teeth, Longao clenched his fists tightly. But things had already come to this point. Did he really have to choose to give up? Longao was very unwilling. It was not easy for him to set foot on the 90th step sky stairway. If he chose to give up, how could he be reconciled? No matter what happened, he had to climb the 99th-step sky stairway. Because of this, Longao gritted his teeth and persevered. He kept telling himself in his heart that he could not give up. His power had undergone a qualitative change. Under the suppression of the powerful chi power of heaven and earth, Longao did not die. Instead, his cultivation had broken through from the peak of the earthly emperor to the primary Tao ancestor. He was overjoyed. Longao knew very well what it meant for his cultivation to break through to the peak of the Tao ancestor. The gap between the peak of the earthly emperor and the primary Tao ancestor was very big. Longao's chi power had doubled. In this way, it became relatively easy for Longao to resist the suppression of the chi power of heaven and earth around him. He was overjoyed. Longao now finally knew why the 99th step sky stairway was the cradle for warriors to improve their strength. He had just set foot on the 90th step sky stairway and had smoothly broken through to the Tao ancestor. What if he reached the 99th step sky stairway? What realm would his cultivation reach? However, Longao did not relax at all. After all, his cultivation had broken through smoothly this time thanks to his own chi power of heaven and earth and soul attack. Longao found it hard to imagine that if he had not cultivated soul attack and condensed the chi power of heaven and earth, it would have been a big problem for him to break through the chi power of heaven and earth and even set foot on the 40th step sky stairway. The chi power of heaven and earth of the 90th step sky stairway could no longer suppress Longao. This did not mean that Longao's chi power of heaven and earth was very strong. It meant that when the chi power of heaven and earth reached a certain level, it would begin to absorb the chi power of heaven and earth around it. Therefore, the chi power of heaven and earth of the 90th step sky stairway could no longer suppress Longao. Of course, Longao knew that very well. However, he did not relax in the slightest. That was because he was about to step onto the 91st heavenly stairs. No one knew what existed on the 91st heavenly stairs. However, Longao could almost be sure that there would be no chi power of heaven and earth on the 91st step sky stairway. What was on the 91st step sky stairway? With curiosity and expectation, Longao finally set foot on the 91st step sky stairway. However, what shocked Longao was that there was nothing on the 91st step sky stairway. There was only a kind of airflow, which was very comfortable to breathe in. Master, calm down and absorb the purple chi from the east. Purple chi from the east? Although he did not know what the purple chi from the east meant, Longao was very clear that Long Fu would definitely not lie to him. Therefore, without any hesitation, he immediately sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the purple chi from the east around him. No matter what this airflow was, Longao realized that as long as he absorbed it, not only would it calm his heart, it would also be of great help to his cultivation level. Purple chi from the east. It was a kind of wonder between heaven and earth that was rarely seen in 100 years. Unless one was able to set foot on the 91st step sky stairway, it was impossible to see the purple chi from the east, let alone absorb it. Longao quietly absorbed it. He had never been so calm before. The surrounding purple chi from the east continuously entered Longao's body and began to expel the impurities in his body. It could be considered as a transformation. After an unknown period of time, Longao opened his eyes. There was some disappointment on his face. He said to himself, if I could absorb it for 3 days, my cultivation would definitely be able to make a breakthrough. What a pity. Longao stood up. He was not a greedy person. Otherwise, he would not have been able to live until now. Although his cultivation had not broken through to the middle-level Tao ancestor, it was very helpful for him to make a breakthrough. Chapter 268. When Longao stepped on the 92nd stairway, he was completely stunned. Because the 92nd stairway and the 91st stairway both had purple chi from the east. The only difference was that the intensity of the purple chi from the east was different. Longao didn't waste any time. He immediately sat on the ground and began to absorb the purple chi from the east around him. In this way, Longao absorbed the purple chi from the east for a few hours every time he ascended. When he reached the 98th stairway and finished absorbing the purple chi from the east, he finally stopped. The peak of the Tao ancestor. Longao couldn't help but be surprised because after being nourished by the purple chi from the east, his cultivation finally broke through to the peak of the Tao ancestor from the primary level. Such a speed of improvement was simply unheard of. Longao knew very well that under normal circumstances, he might not be able to reach the peak of the Tao ancestor realm even in 1 or 2 years, let alone in a short period of a few days. The 99th Stairway. Longao was looking forward to the last heaven stairway because according to Long Patian, above the 99 heaven stairway was the sky beyond heaven. As for what the sky beyond heaven was, no one knew because no one had been able to step onto the last heaven stairway. The 99th stairway, the last stairway. Longao looked at the last sky stairway in front of him, and his heart was filled with excitement. That was because he knew that as long as he could step onto it, it meant that he would be the first person in history to step onto the 99th sky stairway. In the end, Longao still stepped out. As soon as his right foot stepped on the 99th stairway, his whole body trembled. Since things had come to this point, Longao didn't continue to hesitate. Whether he lived or died depended on this move. His left foot stepped on the 99th stairway. Longao found that the whole scene around him had changed. When he came to the sky and looked at the vast land under his feet, Longao was completely stunned. Yes, he was now in the sky. Looking at the vast world below, Longao's heart had long been shocked to the extreme. He finally understood the meaning of the world beyond the 99 heavenly stairs. The 99th stairway. On the 29th stairway, he had already failed 10 times, but in the end, he was still unable to gain a firm foothold on the 29th step of the celestial stairway. Long Patian wanted to curse. He knew very well that the reason he couldn't reach the 30th step wasn't because of his strength or talent, but because of his soul. This was because from the 30th level onwards, it was a soul attack. Long Patian was unable to resist at all. If he persisted, his soul would be injured, and he would die without a doubt. Although he really wanted to step onto the 30th step of the celestial stairway, it was nothing compared to his life. In front of the 99 steps of heaven, the 9 supremes of the 9 great clans were chatting. No matter what grudges the 9 great clans had, the 9 of them had already left the Jianghu. They only had one responsibility, and that was to protect the Crimson Province's forbidden land, the heavens beyond heaven. Look! Following Zhang Xian's gaze, the faces of the 7 paragons immediately warped in disbelief. In fact, they even began trembling uncontrollably. A heavenly rainbow that hasn't appeared in 1,000 years. Could it be? The 7 great supremes were well aware of what the huge rainbow in the sky represented. In other words, someone had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs and entered the Outland. Who on earth was this person? Since the 9 great clans found the Outland, no one had been able to step onto the 80th step for more than 1,000 years. But now, finally, someone had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs. At this moment, the sky turned completely red, like a burning flame, burning with raging fire, completely illuminating the entire sky. A huge rainbow appeared. There were 99 colors in the rainbow. They were red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, black, gold, white. The entire rainbow spanned the entire sky from east to west. At a glance, such a vision of heaven and earth could not be described with words. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the huge rainbow appeared. Clouds of fire and thunder appeared above Mount Chilian. Loud thunder and lightning began to rumble. The entire sky of the Crimson Province was dyed red. Everyone could see that the sky was suddenly burning, as if it was going to burn the entire earth. Crimson Sky World. Everyone who was participating in the Battle of the 9 States suddenly saw the strange scene in the sky. Everyone stopped and looked up into the distance. Outside the Crimson Sky World, the elders of the 9 great clans and the clan leaders all looked in the direction of the vision of heaven and earth. Others might not know, but how could the 9 great clans not know? The appearance of the 1,000-year-old rainbow meant that someone had really stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs. Who on earth could it be? The 9 great clans knew very well that the person who had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs was a disciple of one of the 9 great clans. Because the 9 great clans had completely sealed off Mount Chilian, who could bypass the 9 great masters and enter the outland? Because of this, the 9 great clans did not dare to be careless. They immediately went to Mount Chilian to see who had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs. In less than an hour, everyone from the 9 great clans had gathered outside Mount Chilian. Great ancestor, who on earth has stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs? The 9 great masters looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. The 9 great masters knew very well what it meant to step onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs. If this person came out alive, then there was no doubt that this person's future achievements would be limitless. The Crimson Province would also be able to give birth to a super expert. The 9 great masters looked at the Long clan. The other 8 great clans were not fools. When they saw the 9 great masters' eyes, they already knew that the person who had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs was from the Long clan. Even if the 8 great clans were unhappy and unwilling to admit it, the truth was the truth. What was done and could not be changed. Because of this, the 8 great clans repeatedly congratulated, which surprised the Long clan leader, Longao. Others might not know, but how could he not know that all the strongest geniuses of the Long clan had already entered the Crimson Sky world? How could they be here? Who on earth was it? Not to mention others, even Longao himself did not know who had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs. Could it really be a disciple of his clan? Longao could not believe himself, but he did not dare to not believe the 9 great masters. No matter what, the 9 great masters had no reason to lie about this matter. Moreover, among the 9 great masters, one of them was the great ancestor of his clan. Others could lie, but would the great ancestor lie? Just when Longao was pleasantly surprised and wanted to know who had stepped onto the top of the 99 heavenly stairs, someone shouted. Everyone looked at the young man who slowly walked out. Chapter 269. Long Patian. Everyone cried out in surprise. Seeing Long Patian come down the stairs, everyone knew who had reached the top of the stairs. Long Patian? Longao was stunned. Long Patian had already entered the Crimson Sky world to participate in the Battle of the 9 States. Why would he suddenly appear here? Not only Longao, but everyone else was also confused. After all, Long Patian was the number 1 on the Crimson State ranking. He would definitely participate in the Battle of the 9 States. Could it be that this person wasn't Long Patian? Are you Long Patian? Long Patian, who had just failed, also saw the phenomenon in the sky. He was shocked and already knew who had reached the top. Asking if he was Long Patian? Depressed, Long Patian said helplessly, yes. Long Patian was no fool. Of course, he couldn't let the people here know about his brother Long. Once this matter was leaked, Longao would be in big trouble. Just the fact that Longao wasn't a disciple of the 9 great clans was enough to kill Longao. Patian, is it really you? Depressed, Long Patian still nodded and said, Father, don't you even recognize me? Is it really you? Good, very good. Saying good 3 times in a row showed how excited Longao was at this moment. No matter what, for more than 1,000 years, no one from the 9 great clans had ever reached the 99 steps, and the only one was his son. So, how could Longao not be happy? Looking at his excited father, Long Patian felt a little guilty. But for Longao's safety, he could only do this, and he had to do this. The other 8 great clans were envious of the Long clan. Patian, from now on, go into seclusion and cultivate. Try to break through to the Void Realm as soon as possible and compete for the Dragon ranking. Dragon ranking. Not just Longao, even the others knew what the Dragon ranking meant. As the most valuable ranking of the Long family, once Long Patian entered the Dragon ranking, not only him, but even the Long clan's status would rise instantly. Since Long Patian had stepped onto the 99th step of the Celestial Stairway, the Long clan's status in the 9 great clans had risen imperceptibly. After the 8 great clans congratulated him, they all left helplessly. In any case, they didn't want to provoke the Long clan. At most, they would continue to mind their own business from now on. Patian, follow me back to the clan. Longbu couldn't wait any longer, but Long Patian shook his head. Father, I still have a friend who hasn't come out yet. I want to wait for him here. Friends? Hearing his son's words, Longbu seemed to be very surprised. However, he was in a good mood and did not pursue the matter. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, no one would dare to bring outsiders into the sky beyond heaven, not even his own son. Fortunately, the 8 great clans were not here. Otherwise, it would be another round of trouble. Longbu was no fool. Of course, he knew that his son had brought an outsider into the sky beyond heaven. All 9 supreme martial artists knew about it. Otherwise, his son alone would not have been able to do it. Longbu was very happy that his son had done a great service. He nodded and said, "Okay, I'll wait with you." Helplessly shrugging his shoulders, Long Patian did not say much. However, he was extremely excited in his heart because he had never thought that Longao would be able to reach the peak of the 99 steps in such a short period of time. The vision of heaven and earth had disappeared. Ever since the 9 great clans discovered the sky beyond heaven, no one had truly reached the top of the 99 steps in the past 1,000 years. It could be said that Longao could be called the number 1 person in the sky beyond heaven in 1,000 years. Long Patian knew even more clearly that with Long Ao's talent, not to mention the low-level Long clan, even in the Long family, he would probably be the strongest existence. Long Patian could completely imagine what would happen if the news of Long Ao reaching the top of the 99 steps in the sky beyond heaven was known to the Crimson Province and even the Long family. There were 2 outcomes. The first was to directly kill Long Ao and not let him grow. The second was to directly recruit him and kill him if he couldn't be recruited. Therefore, Long Patian had already decided that no matter what, the news of Long Ao reaching the top of the 99 steps in the sky beyond heaven could not be leaked, not even to his own biological father. The top of the 99 steps in the sky beyond heaven was also known as the sky beyond heaven. Long Ao stood above the clouds and looked down at the vast land. His state of mind also began to slowly change. Young man, first of all, congratulations on reaching the top of the 99 steps in the sky beyond heaven. I still don't know your name? Looking at the giant face that suddenly appeared in front of him, Long Ao was completely stunned. He exclaimed, "Are you a human or a ghost?" It turned out that in front of Long Ao, the clouds slowly gathered to form a giant face. He could clearly see the man's appearance, but it also seemed like he couldn't see clearly, giving off a hazy feeling. "Of course I'm a human. You haven't answered my question." "A human? Can a human appear like this?" Long Ao was completely dumbfounded. However, his reason still suppressed his panic. He took a deep breath and said, "I'm Scarlet Fire Town's Long family's disciple, Long Ao. May I know who you are?" Long family's descendant? Seemingly a little surprised, but the giant face quickly recovered and said, "My name is Igudu. I want to be friends with you. I don't know if you are willing." If he wasn't willing, then he would be a fool. Long Ao didn't even need to sense to know that the giant face in front of him was a super expert. It was also the strongest martial artist he had ever seen, even stronger than the Fire Qilin. To be friends with such a martial artist, as long as there wasn't water in your brain, he believed that no one would refuse. "Of course I'm willing." "Haha, good. From today onwards, we are friends. This time I have something to do, so I can't appear. When you come in the future, I will properly entertain you. Where can I find you?" "Long Ao, your current strength is too weak. Remember this, if you want to fly higher, you have to increase your strength as soon as possible. I look forward to the day you grow." Unwilling to say? Since the other party didn't want to say, Long Ao didn't ask anymore. "Long Ao, you have stepped on a total of 99 celestial stairs, distributed all over the continent. Since ancient times, although you are not the first person to step on the peak, you are the first person to trigger such a vision of heaven and earth. 99 kinds of rainbows appeared at the same time. Interesting, very interesting. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. Remember, if you want to see further, you have to fly higher." As the voice slowly faded, the giant face slowly disappeared with the clouds. Longao quietly looked at the place, thinking about what the giant face had just said. 99 heavens beyond, and the giant face didn't come. Then how did Yigudu do it? Chapter 270. He's out. Seeing Long Ao's figure, Long Potion's face lit up. Without waiting for Long Ao to speak, he winked and said, "Brother Long, how is it?" Long Ao was very surprised, but he was very smart and had already understood Long Potion's meaning. He shook his head helplessly and said with a wry smile, 15th Celestial Stairway, "Where are you from? Who are you?" "Brother Long, I forgot to introduce you. This is my father, Long Bu, the head of the Long family. I'm Long Ao, a disciple of the Long family of Red Fire Town." The Long family of Red Fire Town of Tianzhou? In Long Bu's impression, the Long family of Red Fire Town seemed to be a 9th-level family. It was not easy to cultivate such a talented disciple. If Long Bu knew that the person who really stepped onto the 99th Celestial Stairway was not his son, but the young man in front of him, Long Bu wondered if he would be angered to death. Although Long Ao could step onto the 15th Celestial Stairway, the family behind him was already there. Long Bu more or less looked down on Long Ao, but for the sake of his son, he said with a smile, "Since you and Patian are friends, and we belong to a Long family, if you want, why don't you come to my Long family as a guest?" How could Long Ao not see the contempt in Long Bu's heart? Back then, Long Ao had been looked down upon and mocked for 10 whole years, but no matter what, Long Bu was still Long Potion's father. As the saying goes, even if you don't give face to the monk, you still have to give face to the Buddha. Long Ao only knew one thing, and that was that Long Patian was his friend. Without Long Patian, he would not have been able to enter sky beyond sky, let alone step onto the top of the 99th Celestial Stairway. "Brother Long, I have something to ask you." There was no way to refuse, so Long Ao could only choose to agree and said, "Sorry to bother you." In this way, Long Ao and Long Patian did not return to the Crimson Sky world, but went to the Long family of Crimson State, one of the 9 great families. If Long Ao and Long Patian had dared to leave the Crimson Sky world without permission, they would have been punished. But now, the 8 families did not even mention it. That was to say, the news of the 2 leaving the Crimson Sky world would not spread to the other 8 states. The Long family was one of the 9 great families of the Crimson Province. The 9 great clans were the Wang clan, the Hao clan, the Duanmu clan, the Long clan, the Miao clan, the Wei clan, the Zhou clan, the Fong clan, and the Yin clan. Among the 9 great clans, the Long clan's strength was not considered very strong. It could only be considered as below average. Even so, no one dared to provoke the Long family. Other than the fact that they had a Long family behind them, the most important thing was that the Long family had a super genius, Long Patian. Just as Long Patian said, once his cultivation broke through the nothingness realm and became a venerable, he would be able to enter the dragon ranking. If he was lucky enough to enter the dragon ranking, then not only Long Patian, but even the Long family's status would rise. Especially this time, when the 8 great families saw Long Patian step onto the top of the 99th Celestial Stairway. The Long family's status instantly rose because the 8 great families knew very well that Long Patian, who was originally very talented, would have an unlimited increase in his cultivation speed after stepping onto the top of the Celestial Stairway. No one could predict when Long Patian would soar into the sky. Therefore, the 8 great families had decided that no matter what happened, they would not easily provoke the Long family. The Long family was located in the Crimson Dragon City. The Crimson Dragon City was one of the 9 great cities of Crimson State. Because of the Long family's backing, the Crimson Dragon City was very prosperous. Just the floating population alone had reached tens of millions. One could imagine how prosperous the Crimson Dragon City was. In a very luxurious courtyard of the Long family. "Brother Long, let me ask you, have you already stepped onto the top of the 99th Celestial Stairway?" Long Ao did not hide anything from Long Patian. He nodded and said, "Yes, my luck is not bad. I was lucky enough to step onto the top of the Celestial Stairway." "Lucky?" He shrugged helplessly. If everyone was lucky enough to step onto the top of the Celestial Stairway, then the number of geniuses in this world would be as many as dogs. It would be a lie to say that he was not envious, but Long Patian was really happy for Longao. Brother Long, no matter what happens, you must remember one thing. You must not tell anyone that you have stepped onto the top of the 99th celestial stairway, not even your family. Do you understand? Brother Patian, what's wrong with you? Longao was very curious. He did not know what Long Patian meant. Why did he not tell anyone that he had stepped onto the top of the celestial stairway, not even his family? Was he afraid that someone would kill him? Brother Long, your guess is very correct. Once the news of you stepping onto the top of the celestial stairway is leaked, you will be subjected to endless killing. At that time, you will be in a lot of trouble. Just as expected. Nodding his head, Longao obviously knew that Long Patian was doing this for his own good. He said, "Don't worry, only you and I will know about this. Brother Patian, now that everyone thinks that you have stepped onto the top of the 99th celestial stairway, are you not afraid of trouble?" Longao never thought that Long Patian would admit it himself. After all, he was very clear that once he admitted it, all the trouble would be transferred to him, and he would be completely clean. Brother Long, don't worry about this. I will be fine. After all, I have the support of my family. You don't have to worry about this. It was easy to say, but in reality, it was very troublesome. Longao did not say much. This was a true friend, a true friend. Brother Long, you have already stepped onto the top of the celestial stairway. Without a doubt, as long as you continue to grow, you will definitely become an overlord in the future. At that time, don't forget about me. Longao only smiled. Although he knew that Long Patian was joking, Longao told himself in his heart that in the future, not only his family, but also Long Potion's family, he had to help. Everything was in silence. Brother Long, since you're already here, then stay for a few more days. I will arrange it later. When you go back this time, you can take the two venerables with you. Brother Patian, will this bring you trouble? In the end, Long Patian was still not the head of the Long family, so he could not make decisions in the Long family. No matter what, the two venerables were not a small matter. If this matter brought trouble to Long Patian, then he would be letting down his friend. How could Long Patian not know what Longao was thinking? He smiled and said, "Brother Long, don't worry, I can still handle this small matter. Don't worry, stay here for a few days. This is my place, no one will disturb you." Without giving Longao a chance to speak, Long Patian got up and left. Looking at the gradually disappearing figure, Longao suddenly smiled. Although he did not have many friends, all of them were sincere friends. This was enough. Chapter 271. Crimson Dragon City. The overlord of Crimson Dragon City was, without a doubt, the Dragon Clan. Under the Dragon Clan, there were 4 major clans. The market was packed with people, and there were shouts everywhere. There were people doing all kinds of things. "Young Masterin, please let me go." A girl who looked to be only 15 or 16 was begging. There were more than a dozen big men standing in front of the girl. One of them was a young man with greasy hair and a powdered face, looking at the girl with a lustful expression. "Not bad, not bad. If I'm not mistaken, you're still a virgin." Hearing this, the girl was embarrassed and angry, but she did not dare to say anything. After all, young Master In was famous for being a hedonistic disciple in Crimson Dragon City. He was used to doing bad things, and Hao, the young master of the In clan, was used to bullying others. However, due to the In clan's status in Crimson Dragon City, no one dared to mess with In Hao. The In clan was one of the 4 major clans in Crimson Dragon City. And Hao chuckled and said lewdly, "Don't be afraid, little girl. I'm going to love you. If you serve me well, hee." Seeing that young master and was going to do something violent again, no one could bear to watch. A good girl was going to be defiled by this beast. The heavens were truly blind. The girl was so scared that her face turned pale, and her body trembled. Her family was not by her side, and no one dared to stand up for her. Was she really going to be defiled by this beast? "Young Masterin, please let me go. I'll do anything." "Haha, girl, I don't need you to do anything. You just have to be a good girl." "No, young Masterin, no way." Hearing that, and Hao's face turned gloomy. He said angrily, "Don't be so shameless. Let me tell you, if you piss me off, I'll kill your whole family." The girl was already scared out of her wits. Seeing Hao walking towards her, the girl stepped back. At that moment, the girl's face was filled with helplessness, unwillingness, and humiliation. She would rather die than be defiled by this beast. "Do you want to die?" As if he could read her mind, and Hao sneered and said, "I almost forgot to tell you. I love playing with corpses the most. Thinking about it, I haven't forgotten for a long time. Since you are willing to die, then fulfill my wish." Hearing this, the little girl almost fainted from fright. She staggered and fell to the ground. She looked at young master and in front of her in horror. "Are you going to come with me obediently? Or are you going to let my subordinates strip you naked right now, and then I'll pamper you here?" And Hao's words were arrogant to the extreme. However, everyone knew that Hao had the qualifications to be arrogant. After all, as a disciple of the Yin family, other than the Long family or the other three families, no one dared to provoke him. Countless sounds of pity came from all around, but in order to protect themselves, no one dared to stand up for the injustice. The little girl's face was as pale as paper. She didn't know what to choose because no matter what she chose, there was only one outcome, and that was to be defiled by this bastard. Even if she died, she couldn't die. Even if she lived, she would be humiliated. At this moment, the little girl was simply living a life worse than death. Men, take action. Pull out everything from this thing that doesn't know what's good for you. Let me tell you, after I'm done with you, my subordinates will come one by one. I want to see if you will still be so tough at that time. As the young master of the Yin family, Hao could be said to be fearless. As long as he didn't provoke the Long family, everything would be fine. Even if he provoked the other three great families, it wouldn't be a big deal. "Young master I'm willing to go with you." An extremely soft voice. The little girl was only 15 or 16 years old. She had never seen such a situation before. However, the little girl only knew one thing, and that was that if she didn't agree, she would probably be defiled by countless beasts. Seeing the little girl choose to submit, the surrounding people didn't look down on the little girl. Instead, they fiercely cursed Hao in their hearts. "Bastard, shameless, damn it." They even cursed Hao's 18 generations of ancestors, but what was the use? No one stood up. The little girl's fate was still the same. This was reality. This was the rule of survival. At the end of the day, Hao had a good backer. If someone bullied you, then you deserved it. It was because of this that Hao didn't care about the people around him. He hooked his finger with his right hand and said with a smile, "Come over here and lick my shoes clean." Everyone was furious. Some of the young men couldn't even hold back. If it weren't for the people beside them holding them back, they would have rushed out. Hao was obviously doing this on purpose. He wanted to tell everyone that he, young master could do whatever he wanted in Crimson Dragon City. What could they do to him? It was a show of strength. Hao sat on the back of one of his subordinates and crossed his legs. He sneered and said, "Hurry up. If you piss me off, I'll execute you on the spot." "Bastard. You really are a bastard. Doing such a thing in broad daylight." Before the old man could finish his words, a few burly men had already rushed up and attacked him from both sides. Fists and kicks rained down on the old man's body. He was dead. Looking at the old man who was lying on the ground, unable to get up, it was obvious that he had been beaten to death. Only then did the burly men stop. It seemed that they hadn't beaten him enough. They even kicked him twice before leaving unwillingly. "Murder." Seeing someone exclaim, Hao looked at them with disdain and said with contempt, "What's the fuss? It's just killing a person. It's like killing a pig." Hearing those words, the surrounding people became even more furious. If looks could kill, Hao would have been killed countless times already. "Ha ha ha, all of you are trash. Aren't you angry? Come on, hit me, kill me. A bunch of fools. If you don't have what it takes, then get lost. Just looking at you annoys me. Girl, I'll say this one last time. Hurry up, or I'll start." The little girl was already scared out of her wits. If the other party could kill someone so easily, then there was no need to talk about dealing with her. If she was really done here, then she would be better off dead. There was no other way. The little girl crawled slowly towards Anhao. Her face was pale with tears, but she was powerless. She could only choose to accept it because she knew that she couldn't implicate her family. Just when the little girl was about to crawl to Anhao's feet, with a whoosh, an unknown object shot out quickly and hit Anhao's foot. A scream instantly sounded. Oh my God, my foot. Anhao's little finger had been smashed off and fell to the ground with blood. It was a ghastly sight. P.S. 10 chapters have been completed. I will continue with 10 chapters tomorrow. Everyone, please support me, give me tips, vote, and recommend votes. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 272. Anhao's screams were so pitiful that the men around him did not know what to do. Motherf asterisk Kerr. Who is it? Come out if you dare. F asterisk CKU. Kill everyone here. I don't believe that this son of AB asterisk TSH won't come out. Kill all the people around him? Hearing Anhao's words, everyone around him was shocked. They all turned around and prepared to leave. As the saying went, if it was none of their business, they would stay out of it. No one wanted to be implicated. Motherf asterisk Kerr. It's just a corn kernel. Looking at the corn kernel on the ground, Anhao could not believe it. This was the thing that had broken his toe. Could it be a martial artist? And a powerful one at that? Although Anhao was a playboy, he was no fool. Someone who could break his toe with the help of a corn kernel without making a sound knew how powerful the other party was. If it had been an ordinary person, they would have run away long ago, but Anhao did not. That was because he had the Yin clan as his backing. Unless it was someone from the Long clan, there was no one he dared to mess with. Just as the men were about to slaughter everyone around, a young man walked out. He had white hair and was dressed in black. His face was cold, which was particularly eye-catching. There was no need to ask. Anhao already knew that the person who broke his toe was the young man in front of him. Who are you? It's none of your business. Who the F asterisk CK are you? It's none of your business who the F asterisk CK I am. Anhao had always thought that he was arrogant enough, but he did not expect that there would be someone even more arrogant than him. Looking at the fearless young man with a cold face, Anhao wanted to back off. Crimson Dragon City is really sad. Everyone has the right to kill a bastard like you. You're not from Crimson Dragon City? If I were from Crimson Dragon City, do you think you'd be alive now? Ha 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 ha. Motherf asterisk Kerr, I was almost scared to death by you. So you were just pretending, Motherf asterisk Kerr. Anhao suddenly shouted excitedly. As long as the other party was not from Crimson Dragon City, it meant that he was not from the Long clan. Since he was not from the Long clan, he could continue to do whatever he wanted. Kill this man. The dozens of burly men were all acquired warriors, and the most powerful among them had already reached the 9th heaven of internal strength. However, these men hadn't even started to move when Longao had already started to move. According to Longao's current strength, dealing with a few Ho-Tian warriors was a simple matter. Like a gust of wind, before Anhao could figure out what had happened, the dozen or so men all fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Their legs were all broken. Helping the tyrant, I'll cripple your legs. So powerful. Seeing the black-clothed, white-haired young man's display of might, everyone in the surroundings began to clap. Every one of them was very excited, and some were even shouting to kill Anhao. In any case, they didn't have to do it themselves, and they could get rid of a scourge, so why not? You're from the Yin family? Although Anhao didn't know why the other party asked that, he said confidently, yes, white-haired monster. I'll tell you clearly that in Crimson Dragon City, the Yin family is the master. If you dare to touch a hair of mine, you'll have to bear the consequences. Looking at Anhao's annoying face, Longao sneered and said, don't mention a hair. I'll break your toes. I'd like to see how you'll make me bear the consequences. You. Looking at the broken fingers on the ground, Anhao seemed to have just remembered that he was injured, and he immediately screamed. He was in so much pain that his face was covered in sweat, and his face was pale. If it wasn't for the fact that Anhao was also a warrior, he would have died long ago. He gritted his teeth, and his teeth itched with hatred. No one in Crimson Dragon City had ever dared to do something like this. It was like trying to pull a tooth out of a tiger's mouth. However, Enhao did not act rashly, because he knew that he was no match for the other party. As such, he said, "White-haired monster, stand still if you dare. I'll get someone here, and I hope you won't kneel and beg for mercy. Get out of the way, get out of the way." At this time, 20 to 30 burly men in black rushed over angrily. Seeing Enhao's broken fingers and their own people screaming on the ground, all the men in black were shocked. Someone actually dared to attack the family in Crimson Dragon City? One must know that other than the Long family, the 4 major families were the most powerful in Crimson Dragon City, and the family was one of them. "Who the hell are you? How dare you hurt our young master?" With a wave of his hand, a 2-meter-tall man with an extremely rough appearance came in front of Enhao and said, "Young Master Enhao, what happened?" Seeing the man, Enhao's face lit up, and he immediately said, "Instructorly, this bastard is meddling in other people's business. He hurt my broken fingers and my men. You must avenge the family." Li Liantian, the outer sect instructor of the family, was in charge of everything that was solved by force. Moreover, Li Liantian was a Xiantian martial artist, and his cultivation had reached the one-line sky realm. Although Li Liantian looked down on Enhao, as a member of the family, he knew what his duty was. He knew what he should do and what he should not do. Enhao's fingers were broken, and if he did not do anything, he would not be able to answer to the family. "Who are you? Aren't you a bit too arrogant? No matter what, this is Crimson Dragon City." Shaking his head in disdain, Longao said contemptuously, "Scum and beast, everyone has the right to kill him. Today, this person must die. No matter who comes, this result cannot be changed." If Enhao was only forcing a girl into prostitution, Longao would not have meddled in other people's business. As his strength continued to grow, Longao knew one thing. An individual's energy was always limited. You could help once, but could you help for a lifetime? However, Enhao was too infuriating. Not only did he force a girl into prostitution, but he also provoked everyone. He was the young master of the family, and he did all kinds of evil. Moreover, this person was ruthless and wanted to slaughter everyone. It was because of this that Longao was ready to take action. Again, this kind of scum and beast, everyone had the right to kill. "Ha ha ha, you are too arrogant. Do you know who we are?" Li Liantian looked up to the sky and laughed. His laughter was full of confidence. The family was one of the 4 great families of Crimson Dragon City. Apart from the Long family, who would dare to provoke them? Who you are has nothing to do with me. I only know one thing. The family of Crimson Dragon City not only raised a scum and beast, but also raised a group of lackeys. Lackeys who helped the evildoers. Li Liantian's face instantly darkened after being humiliated in public, even by the clan. He said coldly and angrily, "Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite." Chapter 273. Longao didn't take the other party seriously, and his face was full of contempt and disdain. "Kill this man for me." Li Liantian waved his hand and stopped everyone because he could sense that the other party was a congenital martial artist. Of course, Li Liantian knew that such a young congenital martial artist was not simple, but things had come to this point, and he had no way to escape. Li Liantian's figure moved quickly. Before he arrived, his terrifying congenital aura had already pressed down fiercely. "I want to see how you die." Li Liantian personally attacked, and Enhao was full of confidence. After all, Li Liantian was a one-line sky martial artist, and his strength was there. In fact, Li Liantian also had strong confidence in himself. In any case, the other party was too young. Even if he was a congenital martial artist, it was very good that he could reach the 100 dispersed sky. He couldn't reach the so-called one-line sky like himself. But in the next second, something happened that made Li Liantian feel like he had seen a ghost. The aura he released was directly suppressed by the other party's aura. Before Li Liantian could react, he was directly pressed to his knees. Crack, crack. His knees were broken, and the pain came in an instant. Li Liantian was stunned, but he still gritted his teeth and endured it without saying a word. He nodded with appreciation. This person's perseverance was not bad, but unfortunately, he followed the wrong master. Are you an evolutionary martial artist? An evolutionary martial artist? Longao smiled and didn't answer. If Li Liantian knew that the person in front of him was not a congenital martial artist, but an evolutionary martial artist at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm, what would Li Liantian do? What are you doing? White-haired freak, I'm warning you. I'm the young master of the Yin family. If you kill me, the Yin family will not let you go. He didn't know if Hao's brain was flooded with water. If Longao was afraid of the Yin family, he wouldn't have attacked from the beginning. But Hao didn't want to be here and was doomed to a tragedy. I almost forgot that you are the young master of the Yin family. If I kill you, there will be a lot of trouble. Hearing the other party's words, Hao breathed a long sigh of relief. In any case, he had to save his life first. As for this person, he must avenge himself. Hao had thought that the other party wouldn't deal with him anymore. Longao's eyes turned cold. He directly kicked Hao's crotch. Hao screamed. Before he could figure out what had happened, he fainted. From now on, the girls don't have to worry about being humiliated by you anymore. In the end, Longao chose not to kill Hao. No matter what, this place was not Scarlet Fire Town, not Star Cloud City, and definitely not Tianzhou. This was still Crimson Dragon City, Long Potion's territory. As one of the 4 great clans, it would be difficult for Long Patian to make things difficult for him if he were to make things difficult for them. However, Longao was very unhappy about letting Hao go just like that. Therefore, after much consideration, Longao decided to directly cripple Hao's little brother so that he would not be able to abuse women in the future. Longao left, but the people in the surroundings did not leave. Each and every one of them looked at Hao, who had fainted on the ground with blood flowing out from his crotch. Not only did no one feel pity for him, instead, they felt refreshed in their hearts. It was just as the saying goes, good will be rewarded, and evil will be repaid. It was not that there was no retribution, it was just not time yet. Hao could be considered unlucky. He could have met anyone, but he just had to meet a killing god who feared nothing. Clan, one of the 4 great clans of Crimson Dragon City. In Crimson Dragon City, other than the Long clan, the Yin clan did not even care about the other 3 great clans. In an elegant bedroom of the Yin family, soon, the head of the Yin clan, looked at his son, who was lying on the bed with a gloomy face. His fists were clenched tightly. The anger in his heart was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. Master, how is Hao? Master. The young master was kicked in the door of life. It seems that this person did it on purpose. Therefore, the young master's little brother is completely crippled. Not to mention carrying on the family line, he can't even have sex in the future. Pa, and soon slammed his palm on the table beside him, and the entire table instantly turned into dust. What the hell happened? Li Liantian, who had just been treated, was supported by someone as he walked in. He did not bow, but respectfully said, "Family head, this person is a young man. He is around 18 or 19 years old, and his white hair is very conspicuous. This person's cultivation has already reached the evolution realm." There was no need for Li Liantian to say more. Sun had already guessed that this person's strength was not simple. After all, to be able to defeat Li Liantian, it already showed how strong this person was. "Did you not report your clan?" "Master, we did." This person did not care about the clan. Moreover, this person does not seem to be from Crimson Dragon City. Sun's face became even more gloomy. Since Li Liantian had already reported his clan, even if the other party did not care about the monk, they would still have to respect the Buddha. Could it be that this person did not care about Crimson Dragon City at all? Go, investigate this person's background. Yes, master. Sun was not a fool. Of course, he knew that a person who did not care about the clan's background was definitely not simple. Since this person was not from Crimson Dragon City, then it was very likely that he was a disciple of one of the other 9 major cities. If they provoked someone they should not provoke, then they would be in big trouble. In the end, Sun suppressed his impulse with reason, even if the anger in his heart had reached an extreme. 4 hours later, in clan's main hall, how is the investigation going? Master, According to our investigation, this person is called Longao. He comes from the Long clan of Crimson Fire town of Star Cloud Kingdom in Tianzhou. It is said that he is a friend of Long Patian and is here as a guest. 9th level Long clan? And Sun of course knew about the classification of Long clan. 1st level Long clan dominated the continent, 2nd level Long clan and 3rd level Long clan supported them. 4th level Long clan was still okay, but Long clans below 5th level were nothing, let alone a small 9th level Long clan. However, Sun did not act rashly. No matter what, Long Ao was still Long Potion's friend. He knew very well what Long Patian represented. If he provoked the Long clan because of this, then it would be very troublesome. Was he going to let this person go just like that? His own son was crippled by this person and even had no descendants. This kind of hatred was like the hatred of killing one's father. How could Sun just let it go like that? His face turned cold, and he said to himself, I don't believe that the Long clan will be estranged from the clan because of a disciple of a 9th level Long clan. I will go find Longbu now and see what the Long clan will do. The news of Hao being crippled spread across the entire Crimson Dragon City in an instant. Anyone who heard the news was more surprised than shocked. At least the scourge of Crimson Dragon City was removed. In the future, the girls would not have to be afraid of being defiled by this bastard. Chapter 274. In a secluded pavilion in the backyard of the Long family. Brethren, what business do you have with me today? Longbu obviously didn't know what had happened between Long Ao and Hao. After all, Longbu was already overjoyed that Long Patian had reached the top of the stairway to heaven. He didn't have the time to care about anything else. Since things had already progressed to this point, Hao didn't hesitate and told him everything that had happened. Longbu's face didn't look too good after listening to Hao. Longbu knew clearly what Hao was like, but in order to win over the family, the Long family had turned a blind eye and never interfered. Longbu cursed Long Ao in his heart. He had only just arrived in Crimson Dragon City, but he had already caused so much trouble for himself. Longbu knew clearly what Sun was thinking, but because of his family's strength and Potion's face, Sun didn't dare to act rashly. On one side was the family, and on the other side was Long Ao. One was a good helper for the Long family, one of the 4 great families of Crimson Dragon City. The other was just a rank 9 disciple of the Long family. Brethren, the Long family won't interfere in this matter. Sun's eyes lit up. As an old fox, how could he not understand the hidden meaning in Longbu's words? He hurriedly said, Thank you, Brother Long. I will definitely reward you heavily later. Longbu waved his hand and refused. No need. Long Ao is Potion's friend. If I were to act against Long Ao, I wouldn't be able to explain it to Patian. So, you can do as you see fit. Brother Long, what if Patian pursues this matter? Long Patian was the undisputed super genius of the Long family. He was the most likely person to enter the dragon rankings in the past 100 years. One could imagine his status in the Long family. Because of this, Sun didn't dare act rashly. If Long Patian came looking for trouble, what would happen to his family? There was no doubt that Longbu and the Long family would definitely choose Long Patian over the family and him if they had to choose. How could Longbu not know about Sun's worries? He nodded and said, I'll transfer Patian away in a bit. I'll probably return tomorrow morning. I'll give you 1 day and 1 night. I think you should be able to deal with Long Ao. No problem. He was just a mere evolutionary level martial artist. With his family's strength, wanting to kill Long Ao was simply a matter of minutes. As for Patian, you can rest assured that he won't cause any trouble for your clan. Thank you, Brother Long. Now that things had come to this point, if he continued to hesitate, then he would be a father in vain. As Longbu watched Sun leave, he muttered to himself, an insignificant rank 9 Long clan wants to climb the heavens. How reckless. Then, Longbu found Long Patian and told him some things. He couldn't even tell Long Ao before Long Patian left Crimson Dragon City. According to the time, he would be back tomorrow morning at the earliest. However, Long Patian wasn't worried at all. After all, Long Ao was now in the Long family. How could anything happen to Long Ao? Also, with Long Ao's current strength, unless he met a nihility martial artist. Longao didn't know anything about Longbu and Insun's shamelessness. After beating up Insun, Longao didn't immediately return to the Long family. Instead, he wandered around the market. First, he went to take a look at the Dan Guild. Then, he ate some food. At dusk, Longao returned to the Long family. Arriving at Longao's residence, Longao didn't cultivate. Instead, he sat quietly in the pavilion and watched the sun set. He suddenly thought of his family in Crimson Fire Town in Tianzhou, as well as Aoshue from the Ghost King sect, and Yuan whose whereabouts were unknown. It smells so good. At this time, Longao suddenly smelled a fragrance. It was very comfortable and gave him a relaxed feeling. With curiosity, Longao stood up and walked towards the direction of the fragrance. No one dared to enter Long Potion's residence. Even if it was a servant who delivered food, there would be a servant who would come at a fixed time. Long Patian was the super genius of the Long family. Everyone had to treat him as the center. It was precisely because of this that wherever Longao passed, no one came out to stop him. Unknowingly, Longao arrived in front of a rockery. The huge rockery was surrounded by water on all sides and was magnificent. Purple Chi from the east. Longao was very surprised. He didn't expect that the Long family also had Purple Chi from the east. Longao wasn't unfamiliar with Purple Chi from the east, because when he was on the 99 steps, he relied on Purple Chi from the east to quickly improve his cultivation. Longao didn't want to absorb Purple Chi from the east. No matter what, this was Long Potion's home. If he absorbed the Purple Chi from the east, wouldn't it be very unkind? Longao just wanted to see what was inside the rockery that could emit Purple Chi from the east. Stepping into the rockery, the deeper he went, the stronger the Purple Chi from the east became. Inside the rockery, it was a huge cave. Drip, drip, drip. The sound of water droplets continuously rose and fell. In the middle of the cave, there was a huge pool. Longao discovered that the Purple Chi from the east was emitted from the pool. It's so comfortable. In another day, I will be able to absorb all the Purple Chi from the east and break through to the transformation realm. At this time, a peerless beauty appeared in the pool. She wasn't wearing any clothes. Longao was dumbfounded, because Longao never thought that there would be someone bathing here. What kind of scene was this? Ah, damn pervert, go die. When he turned around, the beauty had already put on her clothes. Before she arrived, a terrifying sword light shot out, scaring Longao so much that he turned and ran. According to the comparison of their strengths, Long Jing was not Longao's opponent at all. But no matter what, he had accidentally looked at her body. This kind of thing, no matter which woman encountered it, would be so excited. Damn pervert, stop right there. I'd be an idiot if I stopped. Longao didn't explain at all because he knew that even if he explained to the heavens, she wouldn't believe him. The best thing to do was to find Long Patian and see who this person was and whether there was a way to resolve this. Longao was very fast, but Long Jing wasn't slow either. The two of them shot out of the cave one after the other. No matter what Longao did, Long Jing called him damn pervert from behind, making Longao quite depressed. Adhering to the principle of a good man doesn't fight with a woman, Longao directly rushed back to Long Potion's residence. Would this woman chase after him? Just when Longao thought that this woman wouldn't dare to chase after him, the words damn pervert came again. Then, the cold sword light pierced through the air and fiercely shot out. Chapter 275. Bastard, I'm going to tear you to pieces today. Long Jing was a higher heaven uniting realm warrior and was very strong. Wherever her sword passed, there would be sword scars. Longao dodged left and right, avoiding a direct confrontation with Long Jing. Long Jing was furious, but she couldn't do anything except scold him. Long Jing's shout startled everyone. Not long after, Long Potion's residence was surrounded by disciples of the Long family. Under normal circumstances, the disciples of the Long family wouldn't dare to come here. But now, Long Patian wasn't here, and Long Jing was making a big commotion. Everyone was curious and came to see what was going on. There was no exception. Longbu also came, and saw Long Jing chasing Longao with her sword. He was very curious, but he still said angrily, "Jing, stop." Long Jing was very clear in her heart that with her strength, it was simply impossible to kill the other party. She stomped her foot and threw away the sword in her hand. Long Jing looked like a volcano erupting as she stared at Longao. "Jinger, what happened?" "Father, tell me first, who is this bastard?" "Bastard?" Hearing Long Jing calling Longao a stinking hooligan, everyone was extremely curious. They didn't know what Longao had done to make Long Jing so furious. She actually kept calling him a stinking hooligan. "He's your brother's friend, Longao, a disciple of the Long family in Scarlet Fire Town." "Brother?" Longao was stunned. He didn't expect the girl in front of him to be Long Potion's sister. Didn't that mean she was Long Bu's daughter? Longao knew that he was in big trouble. "Father, this bastard came in when I was absorbing the purple chi from the east. I'm going to kill him." Hearing these words, Long Bu's face instantly became gloomy. The surrounding crowd also sucked in a breath of cold air. If they were not afraid of Longao's strength, they believed that many people would have gone up to beat Longao up. "Longao, is this true? I didn't do it on purpose." "Humph, you didn't do it on purpose? You obviously did it on purpose, you stinking hooligan." Waving his hand, Long Bu didn't give Longao any chance to explain. His voice was extremely cold as he said, "Seeing that you and Patian are friends, I won't kill you. Dig out your eyes, and you can leave." It had to be said that Long Bu was doing this on purpose. After all, Longao's status was there. Even if he didn't give face to the monk, he had to give face to the Buddha. However, Long Bu still did this. Gouging out his own eyes, this was Long Bu's attitude. "Father, Longao, you can choose not to, but I can only kill you." Until now, Long Patian still hadn't appeared. Longao seemed to have realized that something was wrong. Could it be that Long Patian had been sent away? Longao believed that if Long Patian was in the Long family, he would definitely stand up and resolve this matter. He didn't believe that Long Patian would go against a friend who could go through life and death with him. "I want to see Big Brother Patian." "No, from now on, you have nothing to do with Patian anymore." Hearing this, Longao basically understood the situation. In the end, Long Bu still looked down on him and didn't want him to continue being friends with Long Patian. "Dig out your eyes." Seeing that Longao was ignoring him and was about to turn and leave, Long Bu's face instantly turned cold. A powerful aura fiercely pressed down, covering the sky like a rolling river. Venerable. Longao's heart sank. However, if it was a competition of aura, he wouldn't be afraid of anyone. In terms of aura alone, Longao believed that even if a venerable came, he wouldn't be afraid. First, he condensed his own aura of heaven and earth, then stepped on the 99 steps. Under the pressure of the terrifying aura, the aura of heaven and earth solidified. There was no need to release the aura of heaven and earth. Longao activated the aura of heaven and earth in his body. Therefore, no matter how Long Bu exerted his aura, Longao acted as if he was fine. Long Bu and the others were dumbfounded. Looking at the disappearing figure, Long Bu's face turned extremely gloomy. To think that he, a venerable, couldn't make this person stay. If this matter spread out, where would his face go? Where would the Long family's face go? If it was a normal situation, Long Bu wouldn't let this matter go so easily. However, no matter what, his son was there. If Patian knew about this, there would be trouble. In the end, Long Patian was the hope of the Long family. Even he didn't dare to provoke his son. If Patian left the Long family in anger, he could only cry. Leaving the Long family. Longao didn't feel any anger because he knew that this was the reality. If he wanted to survive and not be bullied, then there was only one way, and that was to constantly become stronger. Strength. In the end, everything depended on strength. If he was a venerable or a supreme master now, even if he told Long Bu that he had reached the top of the 99 steps of heaven, would Long Bu still act like this? Longao didn't leave Red Dragon City. No matter how the Long family and Long Bu treated him, Long Patian was always his friend. Even if he was going to leave, he had to tell his friend. This was the basic courtesy and respect. It was already dark. Longao was going to find a restaurant to stay in. After saying goodbye to Long Patian, he got up and left Red Dragon City to return to his family. However, at this moment, Longao, do you still recognize me? Looking at Hao, who was limping out, Longao smiled and said, No, little brother. Do you feel that you are actually like a human? And Hao, God is watching what you do. Don't go too far. I'll let you go this time. Before Longao finished speaking, a sharp sword had been shot in an instant. If he hadn't dodged quickly, he would have been killed by the sword. The peak of the Tao ancestor. Longao had already sensed the strength of the other party. There was no need to ask at all. He already knew who it was. It seemed that Hao was not convinced, and specially found someone to deal with him. As expected, Sun suddenly appeared. The father and son stood together. Sun said, You shouldn't have provoked the family. Longao, now that Long Patian is not in Red Dragon City, the Long family won't interfere. I'd like to see who can help you. A conspiracy. Longao already knew that this was a conspiracy of the Long family and the family. They wanted nothing more than to deal with him and send Long Patian away. No wonder Long Patian didn't appear. You won't have a chance this time. Ha ha ha. You? With his father by his side, Hao was fearless and didn't take the other party seriously at all. Hao knew his father's strength very well. It was more than enough to deal with a small Longao. Chapter 276. Sun was a peak Tao ancestor. Longao, I won't kill you. I'll just let my son kick your crotch and let you have a taste of having no descendants. Looking at Hao, who couldn't even stand steadily, Longao suddenly thought of the sunflower scripture. According to the sunflower scripture, wouldn't Hao be able to cultivate it now? Seeing Longao ignoring them, whether it was Hao or Sun, both of them were immediately enraged. Sun didn't continue to talk nonsense. He took a big step forward and rushed out. Sun was confident that he could kill this person in 3 moves. Longao didn't move and stood quietly in place. Longao wanted to die? Seeing Longao motionless and ready to die, Hao was very curious. However, when Sun was less than 20 centimeters away from Longao backhanded with a blade. If Sun hadn't dodged in time, this blade would have taken his life. Despicable. Longao didn't think of himself as despicable. As the saying goes, the winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Despicableness would always be reserved for the loser. This time, Longao didn't continue to sit and wait for death. He also rushed out. However, Sun didn't have any chance to breathe. Blade after blade, like a storm. This time, not only Sun, but even Hao, who was full of confidence, was deeply shocked. He thought that his father would be able to kick the opponent's crotch in 3 moves. But now, not only did his father not gain the upper hand, but he was also pushed back step by step. There were several times when his father was almost killed by Longao's blade. Longao and Sun were both peak Tao ancestor martial artists. Not to mention strength, just momentum alone, Longao could throw Sun by several streets. However, Longao didn't use the momentum of heaven and earth. Longao held the blood-drinking wild blade and used the blood-drinking 8 styles. Under the crazy attacks, Sun was gradually unable to resist. If this situation continued, Sun would undoubtedly die. If it was before dusk, Longao might not have killed Sun. After all, he had to give face to Long Patian. But now, the situation was completely different. The Long family and the family clearly wanted him dead. If he showed mercy, the one who would be killed in the end would be him. Thinking of this, Longao went all out and directly hacked down with his saber. According to Longao's current strength, the power of this saber was enough to kill any warrior at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm, including Sun. Sun was cut into 2. At the moment of his death, Sun couldn't figure out why he had been killed. Looking at the 2 halves of the corpse on the ground, Hao was completely dumbfounded. Suddenly, Hao screamed as if he had seen a ghost. He turned around and prepared to leave. Not to mention that Hao was limping. Even if he was a good person, he would not be able to escape from Longao's hands. Since things had come to this point, Longao did not show any mercy. He then slashed out a saber light, killing an Hao who was about to escape. The father and son of the family probably did not expect that they would be killed by each other. Otherwise, the father and son of the family would definitely not have come. Longao, you are really arrogant. You openly killed the patriarch of the family in my Crimson Dragon City. Do you have any respect for my Long family? Seeing the sudden appearance of Longbu and the other two, Longao was not surprised at all, because when he was fighting in Sun just now, he had already sensed 3 powerful auras enveloping him. Because of this, Longao was even more curious. Why did Longbu and the other two not help the father and son of the family, but watch him kill the father and son of the family? Longbu and the 2 venerable elders of the Long family stood side by side. The 3 auras overlapped and enveloped Longao. Longao knew that as long as he made a move, the 3 of them would definitely attack at the first moment. You arranged all of this, didn't you? Since things had already reached this point, Longbu did not continue to pretend. In his opinion, the young man before him was no different from a dead man. He was just telling a dead man, "That's right. I arranged all of this. You and the family must die." The Long family's position is unshakable, no matter who it is. Longao really could not understand. With the family's strength, it was impossible for them to shake the Long family's position in Crimson Dragon City. They could even better assist the Long family. If that was the case, why would the Long family want to deal with the family? Longao, I have to admit that your talent is not bad. If you can continue to grow, your future will be limitless. Unfortunately, you no longer have the chance. Longao was constantly on guard. After all, the 3 people before him were all genuine venerables. Even if the 3 of them worked together, he would not be a match for any one of them. Father, let Brother Long go. Just as the battle was about to break out, Long Potion's figure suddenly appeared. Seeing his son, Long Bu's face immediately turned ugly. He said in a deep voice, "Have you done what I asked you to do?" "Father, I know very well what you mean. I won't use the 2 venerables, but I hope you won't hurt my friends. Otherwise, I'll have to leave the family." Longbu was shocked. Even if Longbu had to give up the entire Long family, he would not give up on his son. What a joke. He and the Long family still needed to rely on Patian to soar. How could he give up such an opportunity? However, Longbu did not want to let Longao go. "Brother Long, I've let you down." Smiling, Longao did not mind and said, "No matter what happens between me and the Long family, you'll always be my big brother, Longao." "All right, Brother Long, let's set a year as the limit. After a year, you and I will go after the dragon rankings together. How about that?" Longao naturally would not refuse. He nodded and said, "All right, we'll set a year as the limit. You and I will go after the dragon rankings together." "Brother Long, I won't see you off." Longao did not continue to say anything because he knew that Long Patian was in a difficult position in front of him and his family. Therefore, the only way was to leave by himself. He believed that with Long Patian, the Long family would not do anything to him. "Father, I hope you won't do anything to Brother Long, otherwise I'll do what I say." "Patian, I'm a little tired. Don't let anyone disturb me in this year. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion." Long Patian turned and left. It seemed that the matter of his family dealing with Long Ao had a great impact on him. After leaving Crimson Dragon City, Long Ao did not plan to return to the Crimson Sky World. Instead, he prepared to go back to Crimson Fire Town in Tianzhou. After leaving for so long, it was time to go back and take a look. Long Ao had decided that when he returned to his family, he would start cultivating in seclusion. Within a year, he had to break through the Void Disaster Realm. The dragon rank was the next target he would chase after. Long Ao knew that if he wanted to make his family stronger, it was not enough to rely on his own efforts. The only shortcut was the dragon rankings. If his family could have a few dragon warriors, he believed that the situation would change greatly. Chapter 277. The Long family did not pursue the matter of Long Ao killing the family's father and son, but the family was unwilling to let it go. As the leader of the four major families in Crimson Dragon City, the Yin family's strength was obvious. Everyone knew that among the four great clans, only the Yin clan had an ancestor who was a venerable one. It was because of this that the Yin clan's ancestor immediately left Crimson Dragon City when he learned that Longao had killed Hao and Sun. After leaving Crimson Dragon City, Longao returned to Tianzhou while cultivating and admiring the scenery around him. His body moved with the wind and dodged the murderous sword light. He said helplessly, Long Jing, I've already said that I didn't enter the fake mountain on purpose. Why do you have to force me? Looking at the girl who appeared behind him, Long Ao sighed helplessly in his heart. He had unintentionally entered the fake mountain and saw Long Jing bathing. It was an unintentional act, but Long Jing did not let it go and chased after him all the way, causing him to be on guard at all times. If she were an enemy, Long Ao would have killed her long ago without saying anything. However, Long Jing's identity was a little special. No matter what, she was still Long Potion's sister. You scoundrel. As long as I can't kill you in this life, I swear I won't stop. Hearing that, Long Ao felt helpless. He did not care about Long Jing and started to roast a few wild animals. Soon, the smell of meat spread out. Long Ao and Long Jing were more than 20 meters apart, and neither of them spoke. Long Ao was roasting the wild game, while Long Jing was quietly looking at the sharp sword in her hand. Should she flick it a few times? It's done. It smells so good. Looking at Long Jing, who was not far away, Long Ao smiled and said, Do you want to eat? Get lost, you scoundrel. Long Ao had a good impression of this girl because he realized that other than her being a little unruly, she was a good girl overall. If you want to kill me, you need to have the strength. If you don't eat, when you faint from hunger, Long Ao chuckled. The meaning behind his words was simple. Whether it was on purpose or not, Long Ao chose to take the smaller paths instead of the main ones after leaving Crimson Dragon City. As such, there were no restaurants or inns around. Long Jing did not want to hunt for wild animals, so she did not eat for 2 whole days. Martial artists were also humans. Martial artists also needed to eat. If they didn't eat, they would slowly weaken and eventually die. Long Jing was well aware of this. Standing up, Long Jing walked to Long Ao's side and snorted, I owe you a drumstick. I will return it to you later. Long Ao, don't think that a drumstick can save your life. Like I said before, I can kill you at any time. She didn't call him a hooligan. This was probably the so-called the shortest way to eat someone. Smiling helplessly, Long Ao realized that Long Jing was simply too naive. So naive that it was a little cute. As a Khanate Convergence Realm warrior, she actually couldn't even find food. Interesting. Long Ao didn't care about Long Jing and started eating alone. Moonlit werewolf. The dark wilderness was filled with wolf howls. It was funny. As a Khanate Convergence Realm warrior, Long Jing was actually afraid of such an environment. Long Ao was really annoyed. Standing on a huge rock and looking at the endless void in front of him, Long Ao suddenly said, You've been following me for 3 days. Even if you don't find it annoying, I do. Please come out. Not bad. To be able to sense my aura, your talent is indeed not bad. At this time, an old man in blue slowly walked out. His face was wrinkled, and he had small eyes and a big nose. He looked very ugly. However, Long Ao did not underestimate him at all. This was because he could clearly sense that the old man in blue in front of him was a powerful venerable. You're from the Yin family? And Feng. As expected, but Long Ao was not surprised at all. After all, he had killed the Yin family's father and son. If the Yin family could take this lying down, how could they survive in Crimson Dragon City in the future? Do you want to fight or not? Hearing the other party's words, Feng seemed a little surprised. He said with a smile, No matter how wrong Hao is, he's still a disciple of the Yin family. Moreover, you killed Sun. We have to take revenge. Then let's fight. It was simple and clear. Long Ao clearly knew that this battle could not be avoided. Since that was the case, why was there a need to be so wishy-washy and talk so much nonsense? Before the battle, I really want to know how you got the blood-sucking saber in your hand. Hearing Feng mention the blood-sucking saber, Longao was shocked. Ever since he obtained the blood-sucking saber, no one had recognized it. It was precisely because of this that he did not know how Enfeng knew about the blood-sucking saber. Since the other party already knew, Longao did not hide anything. He said, "I obtained it by accident. How did you know about the blood-sucking saber?" With a face full of yearning and pride, Enfeng said with emotion, "How could I not know? The blood-sucking saber itself belongs to my family." Bullshastras T. Longao, let me tell you. The blood-sucking saber in your hand belonged to the ancestor of the family back then. With this blood-sucking saber, the ancestor was invincible in the world. However, in an accident, the ancestor unfortunately fell, and even the blood-sucking saber was lost. His whereabouts are still unknown. I didn't expect that the blood-sucking saber would be in your hands. Hearing what Enfeng said and looking at the expression on his face, Longao knew that Enfeng was not lying. Could it be that the blood-sucking saber really belonged to the family? Longao, as long as you hand over the blood-sucking saber, I can let you live. Just cut off one of your arms. How about that? Ha ha ha. Let me live. Cut off one of your arms. Enfeng, let me tell you clearly, regardless of whether the blood-sucking saber belongs to your family or not. Now that the blood-sucking saber is in my hands, it belongs to me, Longao. If you want to take it back, you have to rely on your own ability. Without waiting for Enfeng to speak, Longao continued, "Do you think that you're amazing just because you're a venerable? Let me tell you clearly, a venerable like you is not even comparable to a chicken leg in my eyes." Hearing Longao's words, Long Jing, who was not far away, burst into laughter. After laughing, she realized that she and Longao were enemies, so she forcibly endured it. Longao, I have to admit that you're really arrogant. However, the strength of a venerable is not something that a Tao ancestor like you can imagine. I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the blood-sucking saber and cut off one of your arms, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, Longao said with disgust, "No, otherwise, I won't cut off one of my arms, and I won't hand over the blood-sucking saber. Bite me." The repeated provocation was simply unbearable. The prostitutes could endure it, but the brothel couldn't. Chapter 278. Longao and Enfeng looked at each other angrily. I'll let you see how big the gap is between a Tao ancestor and a venerable. Enfeng's body moved. Before he arrived, his terrifying aura had already arrived. However, Enfeng left quickly and returned even faster. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. Aura of heaven and earth? Longao was not afraid of Enfeng's aura at all. What a joke. Unless he encountered the same aura of heaven and earth, the aura of heaven and earth was the strongest. At least you have some eyesight. Longao, how did you do it? Longao certainly knew what Enfeng meant. He sneered and said, "What does it have to do with you how I condensed the aura of heaven and earth? You're really a busybody. Do you have nothing better to do?" Enfeng's face became colder and colder. He found it hard to believe that a puny Tao ancestor could condense the aura of heaven and earth. Enfeng was not a fool. Of course, he knew what it meant for a Tao ancestor to condense the aura of heaven and earth. Thinking that this kid would definitely become a super expert in the future, Enfeng had already decided that no matter what, he would kill this person and get rid of future troubles. Longao, if your cultivation can break through the void realm, I won't be your opponent. But now, accept your fate. With that, Enfeng's body moved again. This time, Enfeng obviously did not use the aura of heaven and earth. Instead, he directly turned his palms into fists and punched at Longao with both fists. Longao did not dare to be careless. He also punched out with both fists. He also wanted to see what the result would be if his Dragon God Arm and Tiger God Arm clashed with a Venerable. The four fists collided, and the fist force scattered. Longao was directly sent flying. His entire body spun 3 times in the air before barely landing on the ground. This was also because Longao had dissipated the force in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. What a terrifying fist force. Longao already knew that with his current realm, the gap between them was too big. This was the gap between a Tao ancestor and a venerable. The Xiantian realm and the metamorphosis realm both required one to possess spiritual energy. Once one's cultivation base broke through to the nihility realm, it would attract a tribulation. Once the tribulation was passed, the spiritual energy in one's body would transform into spiritual energy. It could be said that there was a fundamental difference between spiritual force and spiritual source. Although the divine dragon arm and the hell tiger arm were powerful, Longao was still a warrior at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm. What he had was spiritual power, not spiritual essence. Longao, now you know that there is no comparison between a Tao ancestor and a venerable. Hand over the blood-sucking manic saber, and I can let you die quickly. And Feng, this person must be killed by me. Seeing Long Jing standing in front of him without moving, and Feng's expression changed. He said in a deep voice, Long Jing, don't mess around. Move aside. And Feng did not dare to go against the young lady of the Dragon Clan. After all, the Dragon Clan was the overlord of Crimson Dragon City, and their strength was far above the Yin Clan. In other words, as long as the Dragon Clan was willing, destroying the Yin Clan would be a matter of minutes. No, I have to kill him with my own hands. His expression was as ugly as it could be. In the end, and Feng had no choice but to nod and agree. Okay, I'll leave this person to you. Just when Feng was not paying attention, Long Jing suddenly took out a small ball from her arms and threw it directly at Feng. Let's go. Longao did not dare to hesitate in the slightest. The two of them left with their fastest speed, and Feng was shocked. He thought that Long Jing would throw something, but at first glance, it was just an ordinary glass ball. And Feng did not immediately chase after them. He stood in place with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. He said to himself, let's see how you can escape from my hands. Longao and Long Jing ran all the way. They did not know how long they ran before they stopped. Looking around and seeing that Feng did not chase after them, Longao said while panting, thank you so much this time. Humph, Longao, don't think that I won't kill you just because I saved you this time. This is just to return the favor of your chicken leg. From now on, if there's a chance, I will still kill you without hesitation. Looking at Long Jing, who turned and left, Longao was completely dumbfounded. He stood there in a daze. Suddenly, Longao laughed. Long Jing was really an incomparably simple girl. She clearly distinguished between gratitude and grudges. Even if it was a chicken leg, she would still return it to you. Helplessly shrugging, Longao truly witnessed the strength of a venerable. It was very terrifying. No matter how powerful the divine dragon arm and the underworld tiger arm were, spiritual energy and spiritual source were an insurmountable gap. Longao sat on the ground and rested for a while. He felt much better. Just now, when he exchanged a punch with Feng, if it wasn't for the fact that the divine dragon arm and the underworld tiger arm were strong enough to take away half of the power, he believed that just one punch would be enough to take his life. Inside the dragon seal space. Long Fu, is there any way for me to raise my cultivation to the Nihility 100 Calamity realm as quickly as possible? Longao knew very well that unless his cultivation could break through the void disaster realm and transform the spiritual energy in his body into spiritual source, he would be able to kill Feng with the help of the divine dragon arm and the underworld tiger arm. Otherwise, he would only be slaughtered. Master, no, I have used up all the spiritual stones. What's more, no one can help you break through the void disaster realm at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm, not even the desolate saint body. Why is that? Didn't you say that my desolate saint body can automatically advance as long as it absorbs enough power? That's right, but Master, what I want to tell you is that the situation is completely different when a peak of the Tao ancestor realm breaks through the void disaster realm. What's the difference? The thunder tribulation you triggered back then was similar to the thunder tribulation of an ordinary warrior. But once your cultivation breaks through the void realm, you will trigger the most powerful of the 100 tribulations. Even if the desolate saint body absorbs enough power, you can only rely on yourself to sense the 100 tribulations. No one can replace you, not even me. So that's how it is. He was a little disappointed. After all, with his current strength, it was impossible for him to be a match for a venerable. Master, If you want to kill a venerable, you don't need to rush to break through to the void disaster realm. Other methods are also feasible. Overjoyed, Longao couldn't wait to ask, Long Fu, what methods? Master, I've already calculated that there will be lightning and thunder tonight. When the time comes, follow my instructions and set up everything. Once this person falls into the trap, Master, you can draw upon the power of heaven and earth to strike him to death. Can I trigger the power of heaven and earth? Although Longao was very confident in himself, he knew his own limits. If he wanted to trigger the lightning of heaven and earth, it would only be a dream. Master, you can't do it alone. I will help you when the time comes. You won't have any sequelae, will you? Longao didn't want to let Long Fu take the risk. If he fell into a deep sleep for hundreds of years, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Without waiting for Enfeng to ask, Longao continued, the God-sealing pearl can lock the space around the opponent. As for the God-killing mirror, it can change the flow of time, making time go forward or backward by 3 seconds. Longao did not continue, because he knew that Enfeng must know the power of the God-sealing pearl and the God-killing mirror. Sure enough, hearing the power of the God-killing mirror and the God-sealing pearl, Enfeng was very surprised. His face was instantly filled with greed. He said, okay, I'd like to see how you can withstand 10 moves of mine. What a joke. A Dao ancestor martial artist wanting to challenge a venerable was simply unheard of. In the Tianwu continent, the division of martial artist realms was very strict. Generally, it was almost impossible to challenge someone of a higher realm. Not to mention, a Dao ancestor martial artist challenging a venerable was equivalent to a transformation martial artist challenging a nihility martial artist. Longao did not say any more nonsense. He took 10 steps back and entered the pattern. Enfeng was also not afraid. He took a step forward and entered the pattern. The two faced each other, about 3 meters apart. Longao, I'm very curious. What do you mean by drawing these patterns? The two of them were surrounded by countless strange patterns. It was impossible to see what was drawn. In fact, Enfeng was still very wary of the other party. No matter what, Longao was so confident. Could it be that he really had something to rely on? Why are you talking so much nonsense? You and I will fight. Within 10 moves, if you win, I will give you the blood-sucking wild saber, God-sealing pearl, and God-killing mirror. If you lose, just leave your life. The more confident Longao was, the more uneasy Enfeng felt. However, things had already reached this point. It was impossible to retreat. Longao and Enfeng did not immediately make a move. Longao was waiting for the lightning to strike, but Enfeng was afraid and did not want to make the first move. He wanted to see what kind of trick Longao was playing. Just as Enfeng was about to make a move, Longao suddenly took out the God-sealing pearl and God-killing mirror. He said, you can try the power of the God-killing mirror and God-sealing pearl first. As he spoke, Enfeng suddenly felt the space around him stop flowing. Then, his entire body was locked. Was this the power of the God-sealing pearl? Enfeng was a venerable. With Longao's current strength, it was very difficult to lock onto him for even a second. Even so, Enfeng had truly witnessed the power of the God-sealing pearl. Longao sneered in his heart. He then activated the God-killing mirror. The front and back faces represented yin and yang. The yang side could make time go forward for 3 seconds, and the yin side could reverse it for 3 seconds. Longao used 2 changes of time at the same time. This time, Enfeng was pleasantly surprised to the extreme because such a powerful treasure was something he had never seen or even heard of before. Quite satisfied, Enfeng nodded and said with a smile, I really didn't expect you to have such a treasure on you. Longao, seeing that you know what's good for you, I'll let you die a quick death later. Longao didn't say anything. Calculating the time, lightning and thunder were about to arrive. When the time came, he wouldn't even have a chance to cry. Longao didn't doubt Long Fu's words at all. Sure enough, at this time, the moon was still high in the sky. Suddenly, dark clouds covered the sky and a fierce wind blew. Kacha, There was a shocking flash of thunder across the sky. It's here. He was delighted. Finally, the time he had been waiting for was here. Then, Longao moved first. Seeing this, Enfeng laughed 3 times. He thought that Longao wanted to commit suicide. The two of them didn't use fancy moves. As soon as they came, they directly punched each other. Longao didn't dare to be careless. The Divine Dragon Arm and the Hell Tiger Arm smashed out at the same time. Fist energy shot out in all directions. You punch, I punch. Just like this, the two of them didn't hold back at all. Longao was smashed until he was covered in blood, but he still endured. Long Jing, who was watching the battle not far away, was a little moved. At this time, Longao's body suddenly erupted with a shocking aura of heaven and earth, directly enveloping Enfeng. At this time, a small black seal suddenly appeared in Longao's body. Then, 12 giant python corpse demons rose at the same time and began to spin. Chapter 280. Seeing the sudden appearance of the small black seal and the 12 giant python corpse demons, Enfeng was shocked. However, Enfeng's confidence prevented him from leaving immediately. This made him walk on a path of no return. The black seal shot out a ray of light into the sky. Then, the 12 python corpse demons all circled around the black seal. A dragon's roar resounded through the sky. The summoning was a success. After receiving the information from Long Fu, Longao was overjoyed. He endured the pain in his body and did not continue to fight with Enfeng. The most crucial step had been completed. After leaving the circle of the pattern, Enfeng was about to leave when he realized that his body was enveloped by the power of lightning. This was the so-called lock. It would be a lie if he said that he was not afraid. At this moment, Enfeng was clearly panicking because he knew very well what it meant to be locked on by the power of lightning. Once the lightning struck, even a sovereign would not be able to withstand it, let alone a venerable one like him. Longao, you dare to trick me? He completely ignored Enfeng. Longao's injuries were not bad. After communicating with Long Fu, he immediately went to the place where Long Jing was hiding and said, I'll let you take a look. Lightning strike sovereign. Long Jing's eyes were as wide as a bull's. Her face was filled with disbelief. She originally thought that Longao was boasting, but she never expected that Longao really did it. Enfeng was locked in the pattern. At this moment, the entire heavenly concubine was covered by dark clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. One could even feel the terrifying power of the lightning. Longao, let me go. Enfeng was not a fool. He knew that all of this was caused by Longao, although he did not know how Longao did it. No one answered. Longao had already disappeared without a trace. Enfeng was completely flustered. He did not know why, but he seemed to have guessed what Longao was going to do. Enfeng was not willing to stand there and wait for death. His terrifying aura and powerful spiritual source fiercely hit the air shield around him. However, he had already been locked down by the power of thunder and lightning. If he wanted to break through the air shield and leave, he first had to break through the lock of thunder and lightning. Longao, how did you do it? I'm not telling you. Petty, you won't kill me? In your dreams, Longao. Let me tell you, don't think that I'm afraid of you. One day, I'll kill you. Longao shrugged helplessly. At this moment, the dragon seal suddenly returned to his Dantian space. Then, Long Fu's voice sounded in his mind. Longao was overjoyed in his heart. Of course, he knew what was going to happen next. He focused all of his attention on watching because this was the first time he had seen the Thunderbolt Venerable. If this matter were to spread out, he wondered if it would cause a sensation. Crack, crack. Terrifying thunder and lightning continuously struck down, all of them striking the pattern. If Enfeng had not dodged in time, he would have been struck to death by the thunder and lightning. Enfeng knew that if this continued, he might be able to dodge one bolt of lightning, but would he be able to dodge 100? Unwillingness, anger, and all kinds of things made Enfeng feel like an erupting volcano with nowhere to vent. In the distance, looking at Enfeng constantly dodging the lightning, Longao's face became slightly solemn. He knew very well that once he missed this opportunity, Enfeng would definitely bite him and not let him go. not to mention other things. Because of this, no matter what happened, Enfeng had to die. He had to die. Without hesitation, Longao took a big stride forward and rushed out, scaring Longjing. Enfeng, who was dodging with all his might, suddenly saw Longao appear and angrily roared, "Longao, even if I become a ghost, I will not let you go. Just you wait, just you wait, ah!" The unwillingness and anger in Enfeng's heart made him look like he was at the peak of madness. Longao knew that Enfeng had completely gone crazy, but even so, he could not let him go. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. Longao had never been merciful to his enemies, so he did not hesitate at all. The blood-sucking broadsword in his hand had already slashed fiercely at Enfeng. Enfeng had completely gone crazy, but his strength was still there, so it was not an easy task for Longao to kill Enfeng. But fortunately, Enfeng's body had already been locked down by the power of thunder and lightning, and under the double attack, Enfeng began to gradually be unable to resist. From the beginning to the end, Enfeng was full of confidence that he could kill Longao with his own strength. But what was the result? Perhaps even at the moment of his death, Enfeng could not figure out why he had lost, and lost so miserably. No matter what, there was no medicine for regret in this world. The blood-sucking broadsword in Longao's hand was as fast as lightning. Terrifying saber light slashed out one after another, not giving Enfeng any chance to dodge at all. Anyway, if he could dodge the saber light attack, he could not dodge the thunder and lightning attack. If he could dodge the thunder and lightning attack, he definitely could not dodge the saber light attack. Crack. The power of thunder and lightning as thick as a tree trunk struck fiercely and precisely on the top of Enfeng's head. Suddenly, Enfeng's body did not move and was directly swallowed by the thunder and lightning from head to toe. Even his bones were not left behind. This was the horror of the power of thunder and lightning. Enfeng was dead. A venerable was killed by the power of thunder and lightning. If others knew that Enfeng, a venerable whose name shook Crimson Dragon City, had died in the hands of a Tao ancestor, who knew how they would feel. But what happened today would obviously not be leaked. Longao was very confident in Longjing. Such an innocent girl would definitely not tell others about this. Longao, did you really use the power of thunder and lightning to kill Enfeng? Until now, Longjing had not reacted because she did not expect that Longao could really use the power of thunder and lightning of heaven and earth and kill a venerable. With Longao's strength, who in the entire continent could be a match for Longao? How could Longao not know what Longjing was thinking? If he could use the power of thunder and lightning of heaven and earth every time, it would not be a problem for him to be invincible in the world. But the problem was that he could use the power of thunder and lightning of heaven and earth to kill Enfeng this time. He had taken advantage of the right time, place, and people, and it was indispensable. Longao, even if you can use the power of thunder and lightning of heaven and earth, I will still kill you. How dare you peek at me bathing, you stinking rogue? Hearing Longjing bring up the old matter again, Longao was very depressed and said helplessly, "Young miss, I have already said that I did not do it on purpose." Before Longao could finish his words, there was a sinister and cold laughter that came from afar and arrived in an instant. Chapter 281. Longao's expression changed when he heard the laughter. Before Longao could leave with Longjing, the figure of the evil demon had already appeared. "Kid, we meet again. Seems like we're really fated." "Fated my ass. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Get lost." Longao didn't give in at all because he knew that the more cowardly he acted, the more the demon would look down on him. "Ha ha ha, what an arrogant kid. You're to my liking. Kid, I've decided not to kill you now, but you have to agree to two of my conditions." Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know what the other party's conditions were. However, as long as it wasn't too much, Longao was prepared to agree. After all, it wasn't a good thing to be chased by such a powerful expert. Now that the lightning and thunder had disappeared, who knew how long it would take to wait for the next one? "Kid, The first condition is to hand over the dragon seal and the 9 netherworld tiger. The second condition is to be my disciple. Impossible. Don't even think about it. Longao didn't even think about it and rejected directly. This was because he would not agree to any of the 2 conditions given by the demon, especially the second one, which was to take the demon as his master. That was even more impossible. I'll make you agree. With that, the demon suddenly turned into a stream of light and left Huateng's body, entering Longjing's body. Longao was shocked. He never thought that the evil demon would do such a thing. Before he could react, the aura on Longjing's body changed completely. It was cold and evil. Kid. I'd like to see if you agree or not. 2 souls coexisting. Longao had heard of this situation before, but he had never seen anyone who could do it with his own eyes. Kid, I have something to do now. I'll come find you later. I hope you'll consider it carefully. Otherwise, this little girl will be doomed. With a sinister laugh, the demon's figure disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Longao's expression was simply unsightly to the extreme. He indeed did not think that the evil demon would do this to him. In the dragon seal space, Long Fu, will the evil spirit soul cause any harm to Long Jing after entering her body? Although Long Jing had been shouting at him, Longao only knew one thing, and that was that nothing must happen to Long Jing. Otherwise, he would not be able to answer to Long Pa Tian. Master, the evil demon's soul has entered Long Jing's body. Long Jing's soul will definitely be damaged, but it also depends on the evil demon's intentions. 2 souls coexist together. If one is careless, both sides will suffer. Does that mean that the evil spirit soul can enter anyone's body? If this was really the case, then it would be too terrifying. Longao didn't dare to imagine what would happen if the evil spirit's soul entered his body and coexisted with his soul. Master, I wouldn't dare. Why is that? It's very simple. Although the evil spirit's soul is powerful, you still have to be careful. Once you suffer from the other party's soul counterattack or soul attack, the only one who will suffer is yourself. That's why the evil spirit doesn't dare to enter your body. So that's why. Long Fu's meaning was very simple. That is, if an evil spirit wanted to seize another person's soul and achieve the symbiosis of 2 souls, they would have to be very careful. For example, he knew how to use soul attacks. If an evil spirit really wanted to enter his body, it would most likely go for wool and come home shorn. Long Fu, is there any way to let the evil spirit's soul leave Long Jing's body? This was Longao's main concern. He couldn't imagine what would happen if the evil spirit's soul stayed in Long Jing's body. Master, there are only 2 ways to let the evil spirit's soul leave Long Jing's body. The first way is to forcefully disperse the evil spirit's soul. He didn't even dare to think about it. Longao knew that forcefully disperse the evil spirit's soul was impossible. After all, the evil spirit's strength was obvious. Long Fu, the second way. The second way is to take a risk. As long as we can use the lightning strike again, I believe we can definitely disperse the evil spirit's soul. Longao's face sank. He certainly knew what Long Fu's second method was. He shook his head. Longao wasn't prepared to use either of the 2 methods, especially the second one. Although there was a great chance to disperse the evil spirit's soul, Long Jing was also in danger. Once she was caught in the crossfire, the consequences would be unimaginable. Long Fu, is there no other way? No, unless the evil spirit is willing to leave. F***ck. He cursed in his heart. In the end, it was impossible to make the evil spirit's soul leave Long Jing's body. Did he have to give up like this? Long Fu, I want to know, what is the strength of the evil spirit? Is it a world emperor? The 8 realms of nothingness, from lowest to highest, were the disaster realm, venerable realm, supreme realm, earth realm, empyrean realm, great realm, world king realm, and world emperor realm. In other words, world emperors stood at the pinnacle of nothingness. Master, the evil spirit's strength is much stronger than you think. However, with your current strength, it's better if you don't know. Master, there is only one thing you need to do now, and that is to cultivate diligently. When your cultivation breaks through to the World Emperor realm, I will tell you everything. His heart skipped a beat. Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he could understand the meaning behind Long Fu's words. Could it be that the World Emperor wasn't the strongest existence? Although Long Fu's words were very obscure, Longao could still hear it. Could it be that there was an even more powerful existence above the World Emperor? His heart was shocked to the extreme. It seemed that he was still a frog at the bottom of the well. The road he had to walk was very long. World Emperor. Longao helplessly shook his head, his heart filled with emotion. From Long Fu's words, Longao knew that the evil spirit's strength was definitely above the World Emperor realm. It was hard to imagine what kind of existence the evil spirit's true body was. Such a terrifying powerhouse, it wouldn't be easy for him to deal with. Master, there is something I want to remind you of. Speak. Gugao was surprised because this was the first time he saw Long Fu's face so serious. Could something have happened? Master, the evil spirit is too evil. He kills constantly. If you take him as your master, I'm afraid you will also become a devil of slaughter in the future. At that time, I will have no choice but to leave with the dragon seal. So, I hope Master won't accept the evil spirit and become his disciple. So it was about this. Longao helplessly said, Long Fu, rest assured. Unless I die, I will not take the evil spirit as my master. However, the most important thing now is to settle the matter of the dual soul symbiosis as soon as possible. Chapter 282. Longao did not intend to keep Long Jing's matter a secret. That was why Longao did not return to Tianzhou. Instead, he headed for Crimson Dragon City. Crimson Dragon City, outside the Long family. Longao, I've already made it clear to you. Crimson Dragon City does not welcome you, and neither does the Long family. I hope you can leave. Looking at Longao, who left and returned, Longbu's expression was gloomy to the extreme. If it weren't for Heavenbreaker, Longbu would have attacked long ago. However, his rationality suppressed his impulsiveness in the end. I want to see Long Patian. I have something important to tell him. Humph, Longao, I know what you're trying to do. You're from a small family, and you want to soar to the top. However, you've chosen the wrong person. Do you understand? Longao chose to ignore Longbu's mockery. No matter what, Longbu was Long Potion's father. Moreover, the most important thing now was Long Jing, not making enemies. I've already said that I have to talk to Brother Patian face to face. Longbu's face was filled with disgust and mockery. He said coldly, Longao, do you have any shame? I've already said that if you want your family to be strong, you have to rely on yourself, not on your friends. So that's how it is. Longao now finally understood what Longbu meant by that. Long Patian had promised him that when he returned to his family, he would send 2 sovereigns to his family. However, Long Patian was not the leader of the Long family, and everything had to be decided by Longbu. As such, things became quite simple. Longbu must have thought that he wanted to use Long Potion's power to develop his family's power. Without a doubt, Longao did not blame Longbu. After all, no matter who it was, they would probably think the same and put themselves in his shoes. Longao, I've already made it clear. If you have anything to say, tell me. Otherwise, please leave immediately. I've already let go of Jing Er's matter for potion's sake. Don't push your luck. Longbu did not want to continue talking, so he turned around and returned to the Long family. Standing quietly in front of the Long family's gate, Longao originally wanted to force his way in, but in the end, he held himself back. For the sake of his friends, he could not become enemies with the Long family. Back then, it wasn't Longao who wanted to destroy the Nebula royal family. It was Ouyang Fei who was at fault first. If he hadn't rushed back to the clan in time, it was hard to imagine what would have happened to the clan. But no matter what, Longao didn't kill them all in the end. Everything was because of the friendship they once had. Longao was completely devoted to his friends. It could be said that Longao was an affectionate and righteous person. Long Ao took a deep look at the Long family in front of him and finally chose to leave. At the entrance of the Long family's house, the two guards looked at the departing silhouette. They snorted coldly and cursed, "Bah, who do you think you are? Relying on the fact that you are young Master Long's friend, you are actually so shameless. You actually want to climb the social ladder." Sigh, I don't know what's wrong with young people these days. Instead of working hard, they are always thinking of crooked ways. Although they were far away, Long Ao heard it clearly. He didn't feel angry at all. Just like that, Long Ao left the Long family's house, but he didn't leave the Crimson Dragon City. In a luxurious restaurant, by the window, Long Ao sat alone, thinking about all kinds of things in his mind. Without a doubt, all of them were about Long Jing and the evil spirit, the symbiosis of two souls. According to the two methods mentioned by Long Fu, Long Ao knew very well that no matter which one he chose, it wouldn't be the best choice. Especially the second choice, it was even more dangerous. If he was in danger, then so be it. The problem was that if he chose to be struck by lightning, Long Jing might very well disappear together with the evil spirit. What should he do? Long Ao was very confident that the evil spirit would come looking for him soon. So, there was no need to think about how to find the evil spirit and Long Jing. Look, isn't that the Long Ao who killed in Sun and in Hao? Yes, that's right, it's him. Damn, I admire him. He even dared to kill the family's father and son, and he even dared to appear here. He's too awesome. Why don't we go over and make friends? Forget it. What kind of person is he, and what kind of thing are you? F***CK, you still want to be friends with him? Why don't you see if you're worthy? Hearing the discussion from not far away, Long Ao didn't care. The family was no threat to him now. After all, even the family's ancestor, Feng, was struck to death by lightning. Who else in the family would dare to stand out? At this moment, Long Ao suddenly received a piece of news that was like a bolt from the blue. Tianzhou was in chaos, and the 6 major sects were at war. There were 6 major sects in Tianzhou. They were the Ghost King clan, Bloodsea clan, Wind Thunder clan, Golden Sun clan, Flame clan, and Thunder clan. All these years, the 6 major sects have been fighting both openly and secretly. However, there wasn't much friction between them and they never fought to the death. But now, based on the news, the 6 major sects in Tianzhou were divided into 2 factions. The first faction was led by the Ghost King clan, with the Golden Sun clan and the Thunder clan as support. The other faction was the remaining 3 sects, led by the Bloodsea clan, with the Flame clan and the Wind Thunder clan as support. Hearing this news, Long Ao was shocked. Everyone knew that out of the 6 major sects, the Flame clan and the Sound of Thunder clan were the most powerful. But now, the leaders of the 2 factions weren't the Flame clan and the Thunder clan, but the Bloodsea clan and the Ghost King clan. In other words, the war between the 6 major sects would directly affect the future of Tianzhou. The news of the war between the 6 major sects in Tianzhou spread across the 9 continents. The other 8 continents were looking forward to this war. No matter who won, Tianzhou would be greatly damaged. When that happens, it wouldn't be a problem for the other 8 continents to move into Tianzhou. Long Ao felt helpless against the 6 major sections. Because out of the 6 major sects, other than the Wind Thunder clan and the Sound of Thunder clan, he seemed to have conflicts with the other 4 major sections. Especially with the Golden Sun clan, he had a life and death feud. Since it didn't concern him, he didn't care. Originally, the war between the 6 major sects had nothing to do with him. However, when Long Ao heard the news, he also received another piece of news. The Nebula royal family was destroyed, and the Wang family suffered countless casualties. Their whereabouts were unknown. If it were any other family, Long Ao wouldn't care at all. However, he couldn't ignore the Wang family. No matter what, the Wang family was still Yu Yin's family. If something happened to the Wang family, Yu Yin would return in the future. How would he explain it to Yu Yin? It was just a rumor. Long Ao didn't see it with his own eyes. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. If the Wang family was really destroyed, it would be troublesome. Because of this, Long Ao immediately left Crimson Dragon City and rushed towards Tianzhou. Chapter 283. Sky Martial Continent was divided into 9 regions. Sky Region had a total of 6 sects: Ghost King Sect, Golden Sun Sect, Latang Sect, Blood Sea Sect, Wind Thunder Sect, and Blazing Sect. After many years of preparation, Ghost King Aotion could no longer wait and started the biggest battle in Sky Region. According to Ghost King Aotion's original plan, he wanted to divide the 5 sects and then Ghost King Sect would reap the benefits. But in the end, he realized that each of the 5 sects was better than the other. Since that was the case, he chose to form an alliance. Because of that, the 6 sects were divided into 2 alliances. Ghost King Sect, Golden Sun Sect, and Latang Sect formed an alliance. The remaining 3 sects, Blood Sea Sect, Wind Thunder Sect, and Blazing Sect formed another alliance. The 2 alliances began to fight each other. At the beginning, it was the ordinary disciples who fought. In the end, it was the inner sect disciples who fought. Even the elders joined in. Either you die or I die. Things had already reached this stage. The 6 sects clearly knew that there was no turning back. If they couldn't destroy the other party, then they would be the ones to be destroyed. Scarlet Flame Town, Long Family. The current Scarlet Flame Town was no longer what it used to be. Its scale had expanded by more than 10 times. Even Star Cloud City couldn't be compared to the current Scarlet Flame Town. Everyone knew that the reason why Scarlet Flame Town could be where it was today was because of one person, the super genius of the Long family, Longao. Longao's strong rise caused Scarlet Flame Town to gradually appear in the eyes of everyone in Sky Region. Under normal circumstances, with the Long family and Scarlet Flame Town's current strength and status, no one dared to provoke them. Even the Wong family of the Star Cloud Royal family, no one dared to provoke them because everyone knew that the Long family was the backing of the Wong family. But the result? Out of the 2 alliances formed by the 6 sects, the first thing that Blood Sea Sect did was not to deal with Ghost King Sect, Golden Sun Sect, and Latang Sect, but to deal with the Wong family of the Star Cloud Royal family. The Wong family had just entered the Star Cloud Royal family. Their foundation was not stable and their strength was not very strong. Not to mention Blood Sea Sect, even the other families were not a match for them. Therefore, Blood Sea Sect destroyed the Wong family effortlessly. If Wang Yidao didn't prepare beforehand, everyone in the Wong family would have been killed. Scarlet Flame Town, Long family's main hall. Brother Wang, are you all right? Wang Yidao waved his hand and sighed deeply. He said helplessly, "Fortunately, the Thunder Sect Xia Jun informed me in time, allowing me to move everyone away. Otherwise, the Wang clan would have been destroyed." Long Haosher could clearly sense the danger the Wang family was in. Long Haosher was a bit surprised that the Blood Sea Sect would suddenly attack the Wang family. After all, the battle between the 6 great sects had nothing to do with the Wang family. Could it be that the Wang family was a threat to the 6 great sects? After thinking about it, Long Haosher could only think of one possibility, and that was Long Ao, his grandson. Others might not know, but Long Haosher clearly knew that the enmity between the Blood Sea Sect and Ao had already reached the point where they could not tolerate each other. Since the Blood Sea Sect had chosen to start a war, they would definitely not let go of this opportunity to take revenge. The Wang clan was the first, followed by the Long clan. Regarding this point, whether it was Long Haosher or Wang Yidao, both of them were very clear about it. The first thing that the Blood Sea Sect did was to deal with the Wang family. Then, they would deal with the Long family next, without a doubt. Brother Long, what should we do next? The Long family and the Wang family were in the same boat. Wang Yidao was very clear that once something happened to the Long family, the Wang family would end up the same as the Long family. The Blood Sea Sect is very strong. We cannot choose to fight them head-on. Therefore, I have already decided to evacuate all the Long family members and leave the Scarlet Flame Town. 3 days ago, when Long Haosher received the news that the Blood Sea Sect was going to deal with the Wang family, he had already started making preparations. In just 3 days, 99% of the Long family members had already been evacuated from the Scarlet Flame Town. Long Haosher knew that the Blood Sea Sect was only going to deal with the Long family. If the Long family left, the Blood Sea Sect would not be so shameless as to massacre an entire town. Brother Wang, the Long family members have already been evacuated. As for the Wang family disciples, they have also been evacuated. Now, only you and I are left. Why don't we go out for a walk and think about coming back in the future? We don't even know what will happen when we come back. Hearing that all the disciples of the dragon and Wang families had been evacuated, Wang Yidao heaved a sigh of relief. Nodding his head, Wang Yidao and Longao left the hall. The two old men walked on the streets of the Scarlet Flame Town. Their faces were filled with longing and reluctance. Brother Long, there is no need to be reluctant. With Ao's talent and potential, I believe that it will not be long before we come back again. Nodding his head, Longao was very confident in his grandson. Not continuing to be entangled, Longao suddenly smiled and said, "Let's go. We should leave early. I believe that the Blood Sea sect will be here soon." Just as Longao and Wang Yidao left, the Blood Sea sect's army arrived. The Blood Sea sect had only sent 1,000 people this time. However, the leaders were two earthly sovereigns, Yi and Du Tianming. Actually, the reason why Longao chose to leave this time was because the Fire Qilin had suddenly left the Long family. Otherwise, with the Fire Qilin overseeing the Long family, who would dare to provoke the Long family? Because of this, Longao chose to leave the Scarlet Flame Town with his family. As the saying goes, where there is life, there is hope. As long as the Long family is not destroyed, there will be a day when it will rise again. Outside the Scarlet Flame Town, elders, the Long family is empty. We do not know where they went. What? In an instant, Yi and Du Tianming already knew what had happened. Their faces instantly became gloomy, because this time, the master gave them the task of destroying the Long family no matter what happened. If one of them ran away, the two of them would not have to go back. But now? Not to mention that one of them ran away, everyone in the Long family was gone. If this matter was known by the master, the two of them would not be able to escape. Brother Yi, what should we do now?
This matter must not be known by the master.
Everyone, listen up. The Long family dares to be enemies with our Blood Sea sect. Their deaths are not to be regretted. Everyone enter the Scarlet Flame Town. Don't put one person, including the other people in the Scarlet Flame Town. Do you understand? How could the 1,000 people not understand? But due to the identity and strength of the two people, everyone nodded and said loudly, "Understood." With a sneer, Du Tianming and he personally led more than 1,000 disciples of the Blood Sea sect into the Red Fire Town. They killed everyone they saw, no matter who it was, even if it was a 5-year-old child. Chapter 284. In just 2 hours, the Scarlet Fire Town was completely massacred. No one was spared. Whether it was the elderly, the children, or even the infants, they were all massacred. Not a single one was spared. The news of the Blood Sea sect massacring the Scarlet Fire Town instantly spread throughout the entire Tianzhou. Many people were incomparably shocked. They didn't know why the Blood Sea sect would massacre such a small town. Scarlet Fire Town, where Longao's family was located. After knowing this, everyone fiercely despised the Blood Sea sect. In everyone's opinion, no matter what the grudge between the Blood Sea sect and Longao was, they couldn't slaughter an entire town. What was even more excessive was that they slaughtered everyone, men, women, young and old. However, due to the Blood Sea sect's great strength, no one dared to stand out and say a word. Even if they were angry, they didn't dare to speak out. Within the Scarlet Fire Town, Longao stood there quietly. No anger or killing intent could be seen from him. He just stood there quietly. The current Scarlet Fire Town could only be described with 8 words. Corpses were everywhere. Blood flowed like a river. Millions of people were massacred. If one wasn't careful, one could even see the corpses of infants everywhere. Brother Long, we've let you down. Xiajun and Duguo Bai had already rushed over. When the two of them found out that Longao wasn't dead, they were extremely excited. At the same time, they were also deeply shocked. After all, there wasn't a single person who could survive a Dao ancestor's self-destruction. Ever since the 6 great sects started the war, the two of them had been extremely busy. As for the Blood Sea sect's attack on the Scarlet Fire Town, They only found out later. When the two of them were about to rescue Longao, they found out that the Scarlet Fire Town had already been destroyed by the Bloodsea sect. The two of them clearly knew what the destruction of the Scarlet Fire Town meant. Longao didn't say anything. Silence. The entire Scarlet Fire Town was silent. Aside from the smell of blood that filled the air, there were only corpses on the ground. Looking at the motionless black-clothed and white-haired youth standing in front of them, both Xiajun and Dugu Bai deeply sighed in their hearts. Brother Dugu, what should we do now? Wait and see. Brother Long definitely can't take such a blow. From now on, no matter where Brother Long goes, we have to follow him closely. Xiajun nodded. He knew that Longao's family had been destroyed, and Longao was definitely on the verge of collapse. However, Longao didn't seem angry or murderous. Instead, he was so calm that it was terrifying. With empty eyes, Longao's mind went blank. Just like this, Longao stood in the Crimson Flame Town for 3 days. In these 3 days, Longao didn't move at all. He didn't sleep, didn't rest, didn't eat, and didn't drink. No matter what Xiajun and Dugubai said, Longao still didn't speak. He just stood there quietly. Brother Dugu, Brother Long's eyebrows. Looking over, the two of them sighed deeply. It had only been 3 days, but Longao couldn't take the blow. His eyebrows had turned white. At this moment, Longao's hair was white, and his eyebrows were white. He was dressed in black, and he stood there alone. Who was the one who destroyed my Long family's representative this time? Hearing Longao finally speak, Dugubai and Xiajun were delighted. Xiajun couldn't wait to answer. This time, the leaders are 2 elders of the Bloodsea sect. They are Yi He and Du Tianming. Both of them are earthly sovereigns. Earthly sovereigns? The corner of Longao's mouth curled up into a cruel smile. Suddenly, an earth-shattering murderous aura burst out from his body and spread out in all directions. The murderous aura merged with the aura of heaven and earth. Even Dugubai and Xiajun were forced to retreat by this frightening murderous aura. Dugubai and Xiajun's faces were full of shock. They almost cried out in surprise. They had never expected that Longao's cultivation would improve again in just a few days. He had broken through from the earthly emperor realm to the peak of the Tao ancestor realm. What did this mean? Not to mention Longao's talent and cultivation speed. Just Longao's strength alone was enough to dominate everyone under the Nihility realm. It should be known that when Longao was only an earthly sovereign, he was already able to kill Tao ancestor experts. It was conceivable that Longao's cultivation had officially broken through to peak Tao ancestor. Didn't that mean that Longao was invincible in the Nihility realm? Xiajun and Dugu Bai could see the deep shock in each other's eyes. If they hadn't sensed it personally, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Such talent and cultivation speed were simply too terrifying. Brother Long, what are you planning to do? Feeling the powerful murderous aura emitted from Longao, Dugubai and Xiajun seemed to have guessed something. The two of them felt a lingering fear. If Longao really went to the Bloodsea sect to take revenge, not only would he be unable to do so, but it would also be counterproductive. The Bloodsea sect was one of the 6 great sects and the overlord of the Alliance. One could imagine how terrifying the Bloodsea sect's strength was. Among the 6 great sects, the Inferno sect and the Sound of Thunder sect were publicly acknowledged as the strongest sections. But what was the result? The truly powerful sects weren't the Inferno sect and the Sound of Thunder sect, but the Bloodsea sect and the Ghost King sect. Because of this, Dugubai and Xiajun were very worried. If Longao really went to the Bloodsea sect, with just Longao's strength, it would be impossible for him to take revenge. Brother Dugu, Brother Xia, who was the strongest person in the Bloodsea sect? The two of them knew Longao's character very well. Once he had decided on something, it would be very difficult to change it. Dugubai sighed deeply and said, Brother Long, according to what I know, the strongest person in the Bloodsea sect should be the Jizun. But with your current strength, it's impossible for you to be a match for a Jizun. Jizun? Longao naturally knew what a Jizun meant. Not to mention a Jizun, even a venerable would be impossible for him with his current strength. However, He had to take revenge for his family, no matter what happened, no matter what difficulties he faced. The Blood Sea sect must be destroyed. Longao didn't continue to stay. He moved with the wind, and his figure had already disappeared without a trace. Brother Dugu, what should we do now? Xiajun was very worried. He knew Longao's character too well. If nothing unexpected happened, Longao would definitely go to the Blood Sea sect. It was easy to imagine whether he would live or die. You should know Brother Long's character better than me. It's impossible for us to follow him to the Blood Sea sect. We can only go back and ask the sect for help. I hope that the sect will form an alliance with Brother Long to deal with the Blood Sea sect together. Otherwise, with Brother Long's strength alone, it's impossible for him to destroy the Blood Sea sect. Xiajun nodded. He obviously knew the strength of the Blood Sea sect. Not to mention Longao. Even the Sound of Thunder sect might not be a match for the Blood Sea sect. This was the strength of the Blood Sea sect. Since that's the case, let's go back first. Later, let the sect seal off this place. No matter who it is, no one is allowed to enter. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Dugu Bai and Xiajun had already decided to seal off the Scarlet Fire Town. No matter what, they would have to wait for Longao to come back and deal with this place. The only thing they could do was to watch over this place. Chapter 285. Inside the Dragon Seal Space. Longao's face was unusually cold. He had already decided that no matter what, he would go to the Blood Sea sect to take revenge. Long Fu, I need power. Is there any way for me to break through to the honorable or sovereign realm? Longao originally wanted to use the 9 Needles of Divine Seal, but Long Fu told him that even if he used the 9 Needles of Divine Seal, his strength would not break through the Nihility realm, let alone becoming a martial saint or martial saint. The reason was simple. A peak Dao ancestor could only break through to the void realm if he could pass through the 100 tribulations to turn the spiritual energy in his body into spiritual energy. Otherwise, even if he used the 9 Needles seal, it was impossible to break through to the void realm. Because of this, Longao was completely anxious. Although the anger and killing intent in his heart occupied everything, Longao still suppressed his impulse and killing intent. Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current strength, wanting to destroy the Blood Sea sect was simply a dream, unless his cultivation could break through to the peak of the martial saint realm or the sovereign realm. Master, there's no way. Looking deeply at Long Fu, Longao knew that since Long Fu said so, there was really no hope. Could it be that he had to endure like this? After leaving the Dragon Seal space, Longao met the Fire Qilin. To be honest, Longao still had a lot of complaints about the Fire Qilin. No matter what, he had a 3-year agreement with the Fire Qilin. But now? The 3-year agreement hadn't expired yet, but such a thing had happened to the family. The Fire Qilin had to bear half of the responsibility. However, Longao wasn't angry at all. After all, the Fire Qilin's strength was there for all to see. Moreover, he also treated the Fire Qilin as his friend. Kid, you don't have to be unhappy. I did have something to do and had to leave. I didn't expect such a thing to happen. Longao didn't speak. He just stood there and listened quietly. There was no expression on his face. Kid, do you want to take revenge? Hearing the Fire Qilin's words, Longao's eyes suddenly shot out a golden light. He was filled with killing intent and asked in a deep voice, "You have a way?" "Yes, but if you're not careful, the consequences will be very serious. You must be prepared. No matter what happens, I will take revenge and destroy the Blood River sect. All right. With my current strength, I can only help you break through to the hollow martial artist realm. However, I can give you 3 drops of my life essence blood. If you encounter a martial artist, as long as you use my life essence blood to launch a soul attack, you will have a 90% chance of successfully killing your enemy." He was overjoyed. Longao obviously knew what the Fire Qilin's life blood essence meant. Under normal circumstances, a martial artist's life blood essence represented their own life. It was very difficult to make up for a single drop missing, let alone 3 drops of life blood essence. Longao was very confident that as long as his cultivation could break through to the venerable void, he would be able to kill a supreme being powerhouse as long as he could catch his opponent off guard and release a soul attack with the help of the 3 drops of natal surprise. Immediately after, Longao felt that his body was out of control. He was not surprised at all because he knew that this was the fire Kirin's help to increase his strength. Without any resistance, Longao was enveloped by a terrifying fire attribute aura. Waves of powerful fire energy entered Longao's body. The fire Kirin's meaning was very simple. Although Longao could not attract his own 100 tribulations and reach the hollow martial artist realm, he could help Longao to forcefully convert the spiritual energy in his body into spiritual energy. Although this forceful increase in realm was not comparable to a true 100 tribulations, what Longao needed the most now was to increase his strength. However, forcefully increasing one's strength like this would have a lot of side effects. Once there was a backlash, it would be much more powerful than the 9 needles sealing god. According to the fire Kirin, this forceful increase in strength could last for about 10 days. This was the fire Kirin's limit. 10 days was enough. 6 hours later. Big brother Kirin, thank you very much. No matter what, you're my big brother. I want to ask you for a favor. Speak. The fire Kirin seemed a bit guilty. After all, if he did not leave Chihua town, the Long family would not have been destroyed. However, as a proud Kirin, the fire Kirin would not admit its mistake. Even so, the fire Kirin was already very kind. According to its pride, it would not have helped Longao increase his strength. Regarding all of this, Longao naturally knew it clearly. It would be a lie to say that he was not grateful to the fire Kirin. Although he had a 3-year agreement with the fire Kirin, he could not stay by its side all the time. Big brother Kirin, this time I'm going to the Blood River sect. I want to ask you to help me protect Chihua town. If I'm lucky enough to come back alive, I'll take care of it. But if I can't come back alive, then please help me burn down Chihua town. Longao had already thought of all the things that could happen. Although his strength had increased to the venerable realm and he had 3 drops of the fire Kirin's blood essence, it was better to be safe than sorry. No one knew the strength of the Blood River sect. According to the rumors, among the 6 sects, the Sound of Thunder and Flame sect were the strongest. But what was the result? The Blood River sect and Ghost King sect were far stronger than the Sound of Thunder and Flame sect. This in itself showed how shrewd the Blood River sect was. It was precisely because of this that Longao did not have complete confidence that he would be able to destroy the Blood Sea sect this time. So, he had to think about everything. The people that he was most worried about were Yuin, Aoshue, and his dead family. Blood River sect. I'll help you take care of this matter. You have 1 month. Nodding, Longao left Chihua town. He did not immediately go to the Blood River sect. Although he only had 10 days at this time, he wanted to see someone very much. Yuin could not be found, so he could only go see Aoshue before he left. However, what made Longao feel helpless was that because the 6 sects were at war, the Ghost King sect was completely locked down. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to step into the Ghost King sect. Longao did not want to cause trouble at this time, so he could only choose to leave. The matter of the Chihua town being destroyed by the Blood River sect was only a ripple. The next day, it had disappeared without a trace. Today, in the Tianzhou, including the other 8 provinces, everyone was paying attention to the battle between the 6 sections. They wanted to see who would win and who would lose. However, one thing was certain, and that was that no matter which alliance won or lost, the situation in the Tianzhou would change. The balance of power between the 6 major sects would turn into a struggle between the 3 major sects. The war in the Tianzhou was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the other 8 major sects. There were even forces from a few continents that were ready to intervene at any time. Chapter 286. The Blood Sea Sect, one of the 6 sections. All along, the Blood Sea Sect had been the weakest among the 6 sections. The strongest ones were the Flaming House and the Sound of Thunder House. But what the world didn't expect was that the Blood Sea Sect, which had always been unknown, had such terrifying strength. They even surpassed the Flaming House and the Sound of Thunder House and formed an alliance to fight against the Ghost King House. It could be said that the Ghost King House and the Bloodsea sect were like two dark horses. They were in the limelight and suppressed the Flaming House and the Sound of Thunder House. The Bloodsea sect had 10 honorables and 3 honorables, whereas the Flaming House and the Sound of Thunder House only had 2 honorables. One could imagine how powerful the Bloodsea sect was. The Bloodsea sect was located at the Bloodsea Peak. It was surrounded by mountains, and one couldn't even see the end of it. This time, the Bloodsea sect teamed up with the Sound of Thunder House and the Flaming House to fight against the Ghost King House. It could be said that they were at a stalemate. No one could do anything to the other. Back then, the Ghost King House and the Bloodsea sect were about to form an alliance. With the two sects working together, they could easily destroy the other 4 sects and dominate Tianzhou. But in the end, the two sects didn't form an alliance. The reason was simple. Both sects wanted to be the leader. The leader was the leader. The second leader couldn't be compared to him. The Bloodsea Peak was one of the wonders of Tianzhou. The Bloodsea Peak had a total of 12 mountain peaks, encircling each other, with the Bloodsea Peak in the middle, looking majestic. 3 days later, a young man stood at the foot of the Bloodsea Peak. He had white hair and 2 white eyebrows. Dressed in black, he was cold and aloof. He stood there quietly and stared at the Bloodsea Peak before him. Longao had arrived at the foot of the Bloodsea Peak. After asking around, Longao already knew the true strength of the Bloodsea Peak. If it weren't for the alliance, the Bloodsea sect wouldn't have revealed their true strength. In other words, both the Bloodsea sect and the Ghost King House had 3 honorables and 10 honorables. One had to admit that the Bloodsea sect was indeed powerful. With the help of the Fire Qilin, Longao's strength had successfully broken through to the honorable realm. He also had 3 drops of the Fire Qilin's blood. Who are you? The Bloodsea Peak is an important place. Leave quickly, or else you will be killed without mercy. The battle between the 2 great alliances had caused the Bloodsea sect to be extremely strict. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to enter the Bloodsea Peak. Furthermore, the 2 disciples guarding the peak were both Xiantian cultivators. A one-line sky martial artist guarding the gate. If it was in the past, the one-line sky martial artists guarding the gate would definitely shock everyone and curse the Bloodsea sect for being wasteful. But now, everyone could only say that the Bloodsea sect was being cautious and wary of the Ghost King sect. Tell Guanfeng to get out here. Guanfeng? The 2 Bloodsea sect disciples didn't seem to be able to react for a moment, but very quickly, their faces abruptly changed as they angrily said, "Are you courting death? You actually dare to call Master by his name." The master of the Bloodsea sect, Guanfeng, was no longer the same as before. "If you don't come out, kill. You're courting death." The 2 disciples couldn't bear it any longer. Regardless of whether the Bloodsea sect had risen or not, no one had ever dared to openly challenge them. Not to mention a little brat. Even the Ghost King sect disciples didn't dare to do so. Both of them were from one line sky and had the backing of their respective sects, so they didn't fear each other at all. But the 2 of them came quickly and left even faster. 2 miserable screams resounded as their bodies fell to the ground, dead. Longao coldly glanced at the Bloodsea sect disciples in front of him. Suddenly, his voice rumbled like thunder. "Old thief Guanfeng, quickly come out and accept your death. Old thief Guanfeng, quickly come out and accept your death. Old thief Guanfeng, quickly come out and accept your death. Old thief Guanfeng, quickly come out and accept your death." Longao roared 3 times in a row. His voice instantly spread throughout the entire Bloodsea sect. Not long after, the angry voice came from afar, and soon, Guanfeng and the other 11 people appeared at the foot of the Bloodsea Peak. Guanfeng's cultivation had smoothly broken through to the Supreme's realm. Adding the 2 original Supremes of the Bloodsea sect, the Bloodsea sect now had 3 Supremes and 10 Venerables. This was the full strength of the Bloodsea sect. Longao's venerable aura was not concealed in the slightest. Because of this, Guanfeng brought 10 venerables here. When Guanfeng saw that the other party was Longao, he was stunned. Then, he suddenly laughed and said, "Longao, I have to admit that you're too arrogant. You don't know the difference between life and death." While mocking, Guanfeng's heart was also shocked to the extreme. This was because he could clearly sense that the black-clothed, white-haired youth in front of him had broken through to the venerable realm in such a short time. With such cultivation talent, who in the Tianzhou region could compete with him? Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots to prevent future troubles. Guanfeng was very clear that with Longao's talent and strength, wouldn't Longao become even stronger in a few more years? At that time, even the Blood Sea sect would not be able to stop Longao. "You destroyed my Long family. Today, the Blood Sea sect will be destroyed." Hearing this, the 10 venerables behind Guanfeng all laughed as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. Their faces were filled with ridicule and contempt. So what if he was invenerable? No matter what, the other party was only one person. What about their side? There were a total of 10 sovereigns and 1 sovereign. With this kind of strength, killing Longao was simply something that could be done in minutes. Not to mention the venerable Guanfeng. If the 10 venerables joined forces, it would be very difficult for Longao to resist. Ignoring the 11 people's ridicule, Longao suddenly sneered and said, "Guanfeng, with my strength, slaughtering the Blood Sea sect is very simple. I believe that you can't stop me." Hearing this, whether it was Guanfeng or the 10 venerables, their faces became abnormally ugly. This was because everyone knew that if Longao really hid and assassinated the disciples of the Blood Sea sect, they would not be able to do anything. After all, the strength and speed of Invenerable were there for all to see. "Longao, what do you want?" Guanfeng's face was also abnormally ugly. The more confident Longao was, the more unsure Guanfeng and the others were. After all, they could not afford to gamble. Moreover, now was a special time. If the Ghost King's sect seized the opportunity, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Guanfeng, you destroyed my Long family. I will definitely destroy your Blood Sea sect. However, I will do it openly and not as shameless as you. Let's have a life and death battle. If I win, everyone in the Blood Sea sect will kill themselves. If I lose, I will kill myself here. Heaven and earth will be my witness. Do you dare to accept the challenge? A life and death battle? A life and death battle?" Hearing this, Guanfeng and the 10 venerables all laughed. This kind of joke was probably the funniest joke in the world. He was simply courting death. Chapter 287. Longao, do you want to fight 1-on-1 or 1-on-10? Guanfeng's meaning was simple. No matter what, he had 10 sovereigns behind him. Even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Longao's voice had spread throughout the entire Blood River sect. Soon, all the disciples of the Blood River sect had gathered. There were thousands of them. Not only the Blood Sea sect, the news of Longao killing his way to the Blood Sea sect was spread out by someone, but the people from the other 5 great sects of the Sky region all knew about it. So many people came from afar and did not approach. In the distance, Brother Dugu, Brother Long's cultivation has broken through to Sovereign Void. Nodding his head, Dugu Bai's face was extremely serious. He said, "Brother Long must have used the 9 divine sealing needles again. It seems like he's prepared to stake it all on this." "Brother Dugu, was it right for us to spread the news of Brother Long killing his way to the Blood River sect? So it was these 2 who spread the news. Otherwise, no one would know." Xiao Jun, even if Brother Long used the 9 divine sealing needles to forcibly increase his strength, Brother Long is still a single person. However, the Blood Sea sect has a total of 10 reverends and 3 utmost exalts. With such strength, not to mention Brother Long, even the entire sect would not be able to contend against them. Although he didn't want to admit it, Xia Jun knew that Dugu Bai was speaking the truth. The Blood River sect was too strong. Even the other sects couldn't fight against them, unless it was the Ghost King sect. Among the 6 sects, it was no longer the Inferno sect and the Sound of Thunder sect. It was the Ghost King sect and the Blood River sect. "Brother Dugu, what do you mean?" Until now, Xia Jun still didn't know why Brother Dugu wanted to spread the news. "I want to help Brother Long, how?" This time, Brother Long killed his way to the Blood River sect. "Look, The 5 sects are all here. If the 5 sects can see Brother Long's talent and strength, I believe there will be people who will help him. Nodding his head, Xiajun finally understood what Brother Duga meant. Many experts from the 5 great sects had gathered. They all wanted to see how the grudge between Longao and the Blood Sea sect would be resolved. If it was an ordinary warrior attacking the Blood Sea sect, no one would care at all. However, Longao's situation was different. One had to know that Longao had single-handedly attacked the Ghost King sect and forcefully resisted the Ghost King sect and the Golden Sun sect. It was precisely because of this that the 5 great sects were filled with anticipation towards Longao. They wanted to see what kind of surprise Longao would bring them, and whether or not he could contend against the Blood River sect. Longao, I can give you a chance. As long as you can defeat 10 elders by yourself, I'll consider it your win. How about it? It was too much of a bully. Hearing the words of the Blood River sect's master Guanfeng, a wave of curses, mockery, booing, and even cursing 18 generations of ancestors came from all around. The 10 Blood River sect's grand elders were all genuine venerables. Even if Longao had used some secret technique to forcibly raise his strength to the venerables realm, it was still impossible for him to defeat 10 venerables by himself. The Blood River sect's master was simply shameless to the extreme. However, since the matter had already reached this point, no one stood out to say anything. It was just as Duguobai had guessed. Unless Longao displayed formidable strength and talent, no one would meddle in other people's business and provoke the Blood Sea sect. Duguobai was very confident in Longao. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spread this news. Ha ha ha, Longao, could it be that you don't dare? Guanfeng and the others' faces were filled with mockery and disdain. A mere venerables dared to be so arrogant and kill their way into the Blood River sect. Even if there were 10 venerables, he alone could easily kill them. Until now, Guanfeng still couldn't figure out what gave Longao such great courage to actually have the guts to attack the Blood Sea sect. Guanfeng, do you feel that you're shameless? Ha ha ha. Shameless? Longao, I will let you understand a truth. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Since ancient times, the winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Only the winner has the qualifications to say that the loser is shameless, and the loser doesn't have the qualifications to say that the winner is shameless. Guanfeng smiled and continued, I have to admit that your talent is indeed the strongest among all the people I've seen. Without a doubt, you can even chase after the dragon rankings in the future, but you already have no chance. Guanfeng was very clear about what the dragon rankings represented. The dragon rankings were the most valuable rankings of the Long family. Once Longao entered the dragon rankings, he would definitely obtain the approval of the Long family. At that time, it would be troublesome. The Long family was one of the strongest powers in the martial heaven continent. Let alone a single Blood River sect, even 1,000 Blood River sects added together might not be a match for the Long family. It was precisely because of this that Guanfeng was so impatient to kill Longao. He wanted to strangle this genius in the cradle. No matter what, he couldn't allow Longao to enter the dragon rankings and obtain the approval of the Long family. Under normal circumstances, the Blood River sect and the Ghost King sect were fighting. They wouldn't have the time or energy to provoke other people. However, Guanfeng had specifically sent disciples to destroy Scarlet Flame Town. That in itself showed just how much Guanfeng feared Longao. You've said a lot. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Only the strong can set the rules of survival. So I will slaughter the Blood River sect, leaving no one alive. With just you? From start to finish, Guanfeng hadn't placed Longao in his eyes. That was because he knew just how great the gap between sovereigns and sovereigns was. Unless he was a sovereign, he wouldn't bring any trouble to the sect. Longao, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but since you dared to kill your way into the Blood River sect, you should have been prepared to face their experts alone. You don't even dare to challenge the 10 elders. Guanfeng didn't continue, but the disdain on his face was enough to explain everything. Everyone was viciously cursing the Blood River sect and Guanfeng. No matter how much courage Longao had and how much confidence he had in himself, to face 10 sovereigns by himself, let alone Longao. No matter who it was, they wouldn't dare to accept the challenge. Precisely because of this, Longao didn't accept the challenge of the 10 venerables. None of them looked down on him. Instead, they all thought that Guanfeng was shameless and that the Blood Sea sect was shameless. After all, such a challenge was simply taking advantage of the situation. However, Longao suddenly raised his head and stared at Guanfeng and the 10 elders behind him. Suddenly, he said, "The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Guanfeng, I, Longao, will now formally challenge the 10 elders of the Blood River sect. Do you dare to accept the challenge?" Chapter 288. Longao challenged the 10 great elders of the Blood Sea sect. Hearing Longao's challenge, everyone was dumbfounded. None of them could believe it. Longao was fighting 1 against 10. There was no need to fight. Everyone could already guess the result. Big brother Dugu. Is brother Long crazy? Waving his hand, Dugu Bai's face was also very serious. According to my understanding of brother Long, he shouldn't be so reckless. Looks like brother Long is very confident. I look forward to brother Long's counterattack. Counterattack? Hearing Dugu Bai's words, Xia Jun smiled bitterly. Although he was very confident in Longao, there was a limit to everything. 1 against 10, and the opponents were 10 venerables. Could Longao really win against 10 venerables? On the other side, Ghost King Aotion also stared at the young man in the distance. His expression was unpredictable. He was very clear that as long as he attacked now, Longao wouldn't die. But why did he do this? In the end, Aotion didn't want his daughter to marry Longao. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done so many things to stop it. Ha ha ha, I've seen arrogant people, but I've never seen someone as arrogant as you. All right, I accept your challenge on behalf of the 10 great elders. Without waiting for Longao to speak, Guanfeng continued. The life and death battle between you and the 10 great elders will be set at the Boundless Blood Sea. The Boundless Blood Sea. Hearing Guanfeng mention the Boundless Blood Sea, the 10 great elders were all shocked. Master. Waving his hand, Guanfeng smiled and said, Longao, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. The Boundless Blood Sea is the forbidden area of the Blood Sea sect. Not to mention outsiders, even the sect's disciples are not allowed to enter. Longao didn't immediately agree, because he didn't know what kind of place the Boundless Blood Sea was. Longao already felt that it was very difficult to fight against 10 venerables. If he entered the Boundless Blood Sea, he would lose the geographical advantage. Wouldn't he be in a very passive position? Longao did not have the advantage of time, place, and people. Guanfeng laughed disdainfully and said, Longao, there is no need to be afraid. Now that the 5 great sects are all here, my Blood Sea sect will not cheat you. Longao knew that if he continued to be wishy-washy, there would be no need for this battle to begin. All right, this battle shall take place on the Boundless Blood Sea. Immediately after, Guanfeng led the 10 great elders towards the Blood Sea peak, while Longao followed closely behind. Guanfeng also gave the order that the people from the 5 great sects could go to the Blood Sea peak to watch the battle. The 5 sects were not afraid at all, even the Ghost King sect. Brother Long, are you really going to challenge the 10 great elders of the Blood Sea sect? Dugu Bai and Xia Jun's faces were filled with worry. If they couldn't even do what Longao asked of them, then they really did not deserve to be friends. If anything happens to me, please help me take care of Aoshue and help me find Yuan. Please. His family had already been destroyed. In this world, there were only 2 people that Longao was most worried about. The first was Aoshue, and the second was Yuan. Longao did not have full confidence in fighting against the 10 venerables of the Blood Sea sect. It was better to be safe than sorry. If he unfortunately fell, at least Dugubai and Xiajun could take care of Aoshue and Yuan. Brother Long, please rest assured. Even if we die, we will take care of Aoshue and Yuan for you. Xiajun deeply sighed and said, Brother Long, when the Ghost King sect and Blood Sea sect fight to the death, I will definitely avenge you, even if I die. No matter what Dugu Bai and Xiajun said, it was already enough for them to say such words. Brother Long, you must be careful when fighting against the 10 venerables. As friends, Longao naturally knew that Dugubai and Xiajun were very worried about him. It was just that for some reason, they could not help him. But no matter what, with someone taking care of Aoshue and Yuin for him, he could die without any worries. The only thing Longao felt regretful about was that Long Jing was possessed by an evil spirit. He had let down Long Patian. If there was a next life, he would definitely return this favor to Long Patian. All right, I'll survive. Under the worried gazes of Dugu Bai and Xiajun, Long Ao quickened his steps and followed closely behind Guanfeng and the 10 elders. Chapter 289. Boundless Blood Sea, the forbidden area of the Blood Sea sect. The Blood Sea sect had a rule that without the sect's permission, ordinary disciples were not allowed to enter. Even the core disciples needed the sect's permission to enter. According to the rumors, the Boundless Blood Sea sect was a holy land for cultivation. The heaven and earth spiritual qi was twice as abundant as the outside world. Because of this, the 5 great sects and Long Ao could not understand why Guanfeng would choose this place to fight. The Boundless Blood Sea was a gigantic valley. It was extremely huge. The entire valley was filled with heaven and earth spiritual qi. In the middle of the valley was a huge pool of blood that was constantly churning. Above the pool of blood was a huge training field that could hold up to 100 people. According to Guanfeng, Long Ao and the 10 sovereigns were going to have a life and death battle at the training field. Once they relaxed and fell into the pool of blood, they would immediately turn into blood. Long Ao, I'll give you one last chance. As long as you kneel down and join the Blood Sea sect, I can let this matter go. How about it? Idiot. Without waiting for Guanfeng to get angry, Long Ao suddenly said loudly, I, Long Ao, officially challenge the 10 of you. Do you dare to accept? Long Ao, don't be arrogant. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Let me, old fatty, take care of you. Guanfeng had already left the training field. Among the 10 sovereigns, a figure suddenly shot out. His bloated body looked like it was about to collapse. His head was too fat, and his facial features could not be seen clearly. Old Fatty was the weakest of the 10 sovereigns. Among the 10 sovereigns, Old Fatty was a beginner sovereign. The remaining 9 sovereigns were 3 middle sovereigns, 3 high sovereigns, and 3 peak sovereigns. Although Long Ao wanted to fight 1 against 10, the 10 sovereigns did not want to bully him with numbers. Even if they won in the end, they would be laughed at by the world. Because of this, Old Fatty took the initiative to attack. If Old Fatty could kill Long Ao, then the Blood Sea sect's face would be back. Long Ao, I want to see what you have to be so arrogant. 10 moves. What 10 moves? Old Fatty seemed to have yet to react, but the other 9 venerables and the others had already reacted. Instantly, they exploded. He's too arrogant. Hearing the discussions around him, Old Fatty's face instantly became gloomy. He angrily said, You motherf asterisk cur, how dare you humiliate me? You don't need 10 moves, I will settle you in 9. In his fury, Old Fatty's body has already rushed out. Both of them were venerable ones, so their auras were almost the same. Unless Long Ao used the universe's aura, he would not gain the slightest advantage by releasing his aura. However, Long Ao did not plan to use the chi of heaven and earth. Old Fatty was the weakest venerable among the 10 of them. If he used it now, wouldn't the others know? Long Ao wasn't stupid. A trump card would only be effective at the most crucial moment. In close combat, the 2 of them chose the most direct and violent way of fighting. Both of them said that one said 10 moves, and the other said that he could settle it in 9. Everyone was looking forward to this battle because only by defeating this person would Long Ao have the qualifications to challenge the remaining venerables. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have a chance, let alone deal with the entire Blood Sea sect. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them were already wrestling. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Was this a battle between venerables? It was like a fight between children. However, No one dared to underestimate the two of them because everyone knew that the stronger one was, the more dangerous this kind of close combat was. If one was careless, one would be beaten to death by the other party. It was precisely because of this that this battle was particularly soul-stirring. On the blood pool martial field, Longao and Old Fatty's bodies fiercely collided with each other. Punches and kicks flew all over the sky. Even if they were hit or kicked by the other party, the two of them ignored the pain on their bodies. F***CK. This is F***King close combat. What are the two of them trying to do? No one knew what the two of them were trying to do. Anyway, the two of them were fighting in close combat. Their fists were fiercely smashing everywhere. Every punch and kick was full of strength. In close combat, it seemed like 10 or 20 moves had passed, but in reality, only one move had passed. Regardless of whether it was Longao or Old Fatty, they were both genuine venerables of the void. Therefore, the fists and feet that they threw out were ever-changing. One move contained hundreds or even thousands of moves. It was precisely because of this that the close combat between the two of them was particularly dangerous. You want to fight with me in close combat? You're still far from it. I'm known as the invincible iron armor. Longao didn't say any more nonsense. His eyes were cold. The first move was just to test the opponent's strength. The main event had just begun. The Dragon God's arm and the Tiger God's arm were successfully merged at the same time. Longao didn't hesitate to throw out a punch. One punch contained hundreds of punches. It was ever-changing. There were fist shadows everywhere, as if they had formed a fist shadow air shield. Old Fatty didn't put Longao in his eyes from the beginning to the end. He also threw out a punch. However, this time, Old Fatty had obviously underestimated his opponent. The two of them smashed together violently. Fist energy shot out in all directions. The spectators were shocked. The venerables weren't afraid, but those below the venerables hurriedly dodged. They didn't dare to stop for a moment. Otherwise, they would definitely be killed by the venerables' fist energy. This was the power of the venerables. Old Fatty was sent flying by the punch. However, he relied on his powerful strength to withstand it. Because the fist shadows were flying everywhere, no one saw that Old Fatty was almost sent flying. However, Old Fatty's face was filled with shock. This was because he had never thought that the punch from his opponent would be so powerful. If he hadn't neutralized the force in time, he believed that he would have been sent flying by the punch. Old Fatty put away his contempt. At this moment, a dazzling light suddenly rose from his body. Seeing this light, everyone from the Blood River sect had a serious expression. This was because they knew what Old Fatty's sudden burst of dazzling light represented. Black tortoise armor. Looks like Old Fatty used his full strength. It seems like Longao is giving him a lot of pressure. Guanfeng nodded. He also didn't think that Longao could force Old Fatty to use the black tortoise armor in 2 moves. This in itself already proved something. The black tortoise armor. Back then, Old Fatty accidentally hunted a black tortoise. It was said that its defense was comparable to the dragon god. The black tortoise armor was extremely strong. Even a venerables couldn't break through Old Fatty's black tortoise armor. This was also the reason why Old Fatty was the most difficult to deal with even though his strength was the lowest. It was because of this black tortoise armor. Longao obviously knew that the armor that suddenly appeared on Old Fatty's body was definitely not simple. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.